なるほどな。
Hello everyone, welcome back to Umineko. The last time we left off, we saw the siblings discuss the contents of the letter, and today we are going to see Battler bring up some interesting points, I'm sure. But anyway, without further ado, let's just get right into today's episode.
魔女じゃなく、ベアトリーチェという名の愛人が島に存在していたわけか。
So actually, I wanted to bring this point up, which is that I've been wondering about, well, the nature of their game and just at what point does the story diverge from the previous games. And I think I brought it up in my last video, but I think it starts being different when a typhoon comes. So the beginning is the same. The only thing that changes is what happens during the typhoon period. That's what I think. But from what Battler says, well, in episode 1, we had the possibility of the 19th person, but never explicitly stated so. As in there's no direct 19th person and we can only speculate who that can be. In episode 2, we have a 19th person that is Beatrice, the guest. And now we have Beatrice, the mistress, as the 19th person in episode 3, I guess. But anyway, let's see what Battler says.
つまり、人間は18人以上いる。ということは、18人全員に不可能だから魔法犯罪であるという図式は崩せるわけだ。これは大きい情報だぜ。
失礼いたします。
Oh, we're gonna see more of him.
マトラ様、紅茶とクッキーはいかがですか？
Yes, please. Beato's butler, who called himself Ronove, appeared out of nowhere in particular. Placed upon the silver tray that he held was a plate filled with delicious-looking, steaming black tea and cookies. I really don't like this guy's smile. For some reason, it doesn't look like a smile used to warmly greet a guest. It feels like he's making fun of me for some reason. It does. I don't know whether he really takes me for an idiot, or whether it's just a joke or something, but it's really irritating me.
いらねえよ。俺は今取り込み中なんだ。ほっといてくれ。
おやおや。それは美味しく焼けたクッキーなのに、とても残念です。
I can only imagine just what he means by delicious. I don't want a Rosa part 2.
人間ごときにはもったいないくらいに素敵に焼き上がった。それは素敵なクッキーなのに。
気が向いたら食ってやるぜ。その辺に置いて、とっととうせな。
さようでございますか。それでは、そのようにいたしますよ。冷めてからお召し上がりになって、焼きたてを召し上がらなかったことを、存分に後悔なされると良いでしょ
う。いちいちうるさいやつだな。まあ、耳元で気色悪くケラケラ笑うベアトのやつよりゃ、数段マシだがよ。
いえまったく。お嬢様の笑い声は時折、実に品がありません。それを聞くたびに、なぜ私ほどの高貴な悪魔が、あのようなものを主にしなければならないのか、理解に苦しむのでございますよ。
He has such a sharp tongue.
変なやつだな。そんなに嫌なら使えなきゃいいだろうが。
それでもなおお使いするのが家具の喜びなのでございます。それでなくては家具は務まりません。それはさておき、ゲームの方はいかがでございますか？先ほど良い情報を見つけたようなことを言われ、お喜びになられていたようですが、さてさて、どのような浅知恵が思いついたやら。
As Ronove made fun of me and giggled, he followed my earlier words to the letter and placed the black tea and cookies somewhere arbitrary nearby.
お方、19人目の存在に自信を深めたからでございましょう。 よろしければぜひご講説をお聞かせ願いますか？
ああ、いいぜ。
He looks extremely confident.
どうせベアトの前で改めて言うしな。隠す必要もないさ。いいか、この島に隠し屋敷があって愛人を住まわせていたらしいんだ。となりゃ俺を苦しめてきた18人なのか19人なのかって疑問は簡単に決着する。
バトラ様は魔女を否定するくせに18人の中にも犯人を求められないダブルスタンダードの袋小路に自らも追い込まれました。
魔女を否定する最も簡単な方法は18人の誰かを疑うことだ。
That's true.
18人全員のアリバイはそう簡単には揃わない。常に一人くらいはアリバイの脆い人間が生まれる。
Like Natsuhi in episode 1.
俺はそいつを生贄にすることで常に魔女を否定し続けることもできるだろう。しかしそれは断固拒否する。ああ、ダメだぜ。全然ダメだ。
His signature line.
18人はみんな俺にとって親たちや親戚たちやいとこたち、そして真面目だったり面白かったりする頼もしい使用人の人たちだ。俺はその人たちの誰を生贄にすることも許せない。かつて俺はその決意があやふやだった。だからその心の弱さをベアトに突かれたんだ。
自らの弱点を認め理解する、なかなかできることではありません。バトラ様は19人目が存在する説を槍にする。槍というよりは盾でしょうかな。いずれにせよこれまでのゲームでの無策と違い、戦い方に指針を持たれるのは劇的飛躍と申せましょう。これでバトラ様は敬愛する18人を疑わずに存分に19人目を疑い人間犯人説を追求できるわけでございます。
But he could also do this with episode 2, when we had that 19th person as Beatrice the guest.
そういうことさ。最初のゲームのカノン君が殺されたボイラー室とか、他にも19人目が存在していたなら迷う必要なんかないトリックはいくつもある。
In the very first game, Kennen-kun had been killed in the boiler room. One might think that he was attacked by Kumasawa-san, who had gone down into the boiler room with him. Or maybe that someone who had appeared to be dead earlier was actually faking, and had ambushed Kennen-kun in the boiler room. Either way, it was a move that forced me to suspect one of the 18. However, by simply proposing that a 19th person exists, there is no longer any need to suspect one of the 18 for that murder in the boiler room.
つまり18人の誰にも無理だからイコール犯人は魔女という図式だけは否定することができるわけさ。
Battler, I thought we were already past this. Using this argument, we can take, for example, the question which has been raised once again in this game. Who gave Maria the letter? And come up with an easy explanation. Is the mistress Beatrice the witch? I mean, the non-witch. Even if all 18 people have alibis, I can easily explain everything by saying that a 19th person visited her and gave her the letter. Beatrice is gonna laugh, no? She did not laugh.
とても良い一手だと思いますよ。私だったらどう切り返しましょうか。
Ronove has the face of someone who already knows how to counter Battler. He's just holding back.
たとえバトラ様が理解されたとしても、未だに弱点は健在。18人攻めは有効な手でしょうね。バトラ様の守りがどの程度か確かめる意味でも、改めてそこをつくのも面白いかもしれません。
ならどうくる？悪魔の執事。
バトラ様が刺された19人目の駒を迎え撃つのが妥当でございましょう。
What? Appropriate to attack this 19th piece. Oh, okay. Let's hear you out.
バトラ様は19人目にお会いしておりませんね。19人目が存在する証拠をお願いできますかな。
Play the devil's proof, Battler.
アメーゼ。もちろんその指し手で来るだろうことは読んでいる。
それは受け手をお願いいたします。
魔女だの悪魔だの、お前らにこれほどふさわしい一手はないぜ。それがこいつ。
Oh, he is, isn't he?
悪魔の証明さ。
I knew it. When we humans are accused of something, we always counterattack by saying to show some evidence, because that's a human move. But I'm fighting with a witch. I'm taking part in a battle with someone who isn't human. And some moves exist which can only be used in a game against a witch. There are cheap moves. And that's what this devil's proof is. Therefore, evidence is unnecessary. Let's take the assumption that there is a hidden mansion on Rokkenjima, separate from the Ushinomiya family mansion, and that a woman named Beatrice is living there. In order to prove this, one must find the mansion and actually bring Beatrice out of it. That's called actual proof in the human world. However, if we follow the rules of the devil's proof, you can't disprove that she exists, even if there's no evidence that she does, because it's impossible to find or prove that something doesn't exist. That's right, this devil's proof, which tormented me so much before, I finally managed to use to my own advantage. Those guys were always trying to force me to accept the existence of the witch by using the devil's proof. That was because, in response to Beato's professions that witches do exist, I physically could not offer any proof that witches don't exist. That is why I have been subjected to this nonsense that witches exist, and why I have been unable to counterattack. And that's why I'll flip over the chessboard right now. If I can't disprove that witches exist, then that means if I suggest that a 19th human exists, you can't disprove that either. In other words, an enigmatic mistress in question is craftily hiding herself, so it's perfectly natural that you can never find her no matter how hard you look. So you can't say that the 19th person can't be found equals the 19th person doesn't exist. Therefore, it is impossible to disprove a 19th person. Beato used the devil's proof to make denying her existence impossible, but this time it's become my weapon. If we can get away with this argument, then never mind a 19th person. This island could be full of people we don't know about. And even if there are 10 or 100 of them hiding, she still can't disprove that they exist. In the last game and the one before that, among the murder scenes that showed up, there were several that were extremely intricate and must have taken a lot of effort to set up. Murder scenes. Okay. It's very difficult to imagine that a single culprit could have set all of those up. Well, maybe, possibly. However, if not just a 19th person, but 10 or 100 people were hidden somewhere, that wouldn't be any problem at all. If they all split up the work, they could handle any job in a short period of time. Of course, doubts will naturally arise at whether a large group of people like that could sneak around the mansion without being noticed. But those are all settled by the devil's proof. Because not seeing or not noticing 100 people inside the mansion does not disprove that they were there. Okay, I'm starting to see Battler's way of thinking, and it's kind of in line with my own way of thinking, but also kind of not very solid, in my opinion. even though I'm saying it myself, it's such a stupid argument that it makes me want to throw up. That's what I'm trying to say too. However, it's because it's such a dirty as hell move that makes it the perfect one to use against a witch. Well, we're only imagining here. But the thought of about 100 suspicious men wearing goat masks hiding in the shadows, that goes beyond funny, makes me think of cockroaches. Oh, I don't like that. If you see one, it means there's 100 hiding in the shadows.
まあ、へりくつまみれの暴論だとは思うぜ。相手が人間だったなら、寝言を言うなと怒鳴られるところだろうよ。だが、俺の相手は魔女だ。そして、俺たちがやってるのはそういう勝負なんだろう。どんな暴論であろうとも、人間で説明をつけ、魔女を否定する。とにかく、この一手で俺は、二度と親しい18人のみんなを疑わなくて済む。俺は二度と、前回の失敗は繰り返さない。
なるほど。前回の失敗を学ばれているのですね。良いことですよ。さすがに3度もゲームを重ねると容量が良くなるものです。まずは自陣の守りを固める。実に堅実な処方です。なかなかの妙手と思いますよ。
まあ19人目の人物を仮定したとしても、マスターキーの本数などのように何人人間を増やしてもクリアできないトリックも残ってる。しかしとりあえずの初手としては悪くないはずだ。
バトラ様の切り札、19人目の人物という大駒、証拠はあるのかとの私の一手に、バトラ様は悪魔の証明で反撃。良い攻防です。お嬢様のおられないところで勝手に手を進めてしまうのは申し訳ないのですが、私も少し面白くなってきてしまったところです。お嬢様に代わり、さらに一手進めさせていただきましょうか。
来いよ。魔女だろうと悪魔だろうと、相手に不足はね
え。バトラ様の刺された一手、悪魔の証明。これは私ども悪魔のお箱でございますが、他にも私どもにはいくつもの手がございます。ヘンペルのカラスという一手はご存知ですかな？
I do not, actually.
ヘンペルのカラス？何の話だ？
Just then, that laugh, which gets on my nerves every time I hear it, started echoing around. He's here. The room was filled with dazzling golden butterflies, and in the center of that whirlwind, the golden witch appeared.
これはお嬢様。おはようございます。
わらわのいないところで何やら面白そうなことをしていると思えば、ヘンペルのカラスか。なんとも笑える懐かしい一手よ。よもやバトラに披露する日が来ようとはな。それは悪魔の証明に並ぶ古典的一手だ。ロノウェ、それはわらわが指す一手ぞ。わらわの楽しみを減らしてくれるな。
出やがったな、ゲラゲラ魔女め。相変わらず下品に笑いやがって。こいつもお前のこと、笑い方に品がねえって陰口言ってたぜ。なあ。
それは心外な。本当か？
めっそうもない。心より尊敬申し上げているお嬢様に。
He's such a liar.
この私めがどうしてそのような陰口を申せましょうか。
よくもシャーシャーと言えるもんだな。 お前とは仲良くなれそうにないぜ。
まあよい。話を戻そう。ヘンペルのカラスは実証を待遇的に行ってみせる。
Contrapositive.
つまりこういう手だ。カラスが黒いことを証明するにはどうすればいい？
Show a raven? You have to have the raven?
あ？何の話だ？
I'm exactly like Battler right now.
カラスが黒いことを証明って。
Oh wait, maybe it's something like you bring something that is proven to be black to prove that ravens are indeed black. But how would it be used in this context?
カラスを捕まえてきて、色が黒いことを確認すりゃいいだけの話だろ。
その通り。
Okay, maybe not.
カラスイコール黒いを証明すればよい。ということは、黒くない鳥イコールカラスではないを証明しても同じ論法になるのがわかるかな？
To be honest, I've thought about this before. But this is such a, would you say philosophical kind of questioning? If it is, well, philosophy, maybe not, but a logical kind of reasoning. If it is A, it is B.
世界中のカラスでない鳥をすべて調べ、それらが黒くないことを証明すれば、それは結果的に、故に黒い鳥はカラスである、となるわけだ。
I understand what she's saying.
これを待遇論法という。そなたには難しいか？
I'm just trying to think. Is this logical? Is it completely logical?
ああ、まったく。何言ってやがるのかさっぱりだ。
バトラ様、こういう例え話はいかがでしょう。二つの箱があり、片方は当たりでクッキーが入っているといたします。もちろんもう片方は外れで空っぽです。
For example, let us say that we have two boxes here. One being the winner with a cookie inside, and the other being the loser, which is empty. Now it holds that if there is a cookie inside, it is the winner. And at the same time, it also holds that if it is not the winner, there is no cookie inside. If a cookie is inside, it's the winner. Okay, well, yes, I understand this. When such a relationship exists, we call the latter the contrapositive. If A then B is true, then at the same time, if not B, then not A is also true. Okay, this is super familiar to me.
そりゃ当然だろう。もし選んだ方が外れだったなら、もう片方は自動的に当たりってことになる。つまり、箱を適当に選び、当たりを引こうと外れを引こうと、最初の一手でどっちの箱にクッキーが入っているか特定できるわけだ。
I'm just curious to see how they're gonna use it to explain away Battler's Devil's Proof.
その通り。開けた箱にクッキーが入っていたなら、悪魔の証明を満たす。この箱は当たり、イコール、この箱にはクッキーが入っている。しかし、開けた箱が空っぽだったなら、この時は逆に、ヘンペルのカラスを満たす。この箱にクッキーが入っていない、イコール、この箱は当たりではない、となるのだから。そしてそれは、箱が2つしかないことを前提としている限り、もう片方の箱が自動的に当たりであることを待遇的に示している。
But it only works if there are no more than two boxes.
ま、なんとなく理屈は分かったぜ。毒を制するには毒。へりくつにはへりくつってわけだ。それで、俺の 島には19人目の人間が隠れているに違いないから、18人全員にアリバイがあっても、それは魔女を認めることにはならないを、どう切り返してくれるってんだ？
よかろう。わらわの手は教えよう。まずそなたは18人の中に犯人はいない、イコールならば犯人は19人目としている。
Is he? If the culprit is not among the 18, then the culprit is a 19th person. Okay, I can accept this.
ならば待遇としてこうなるわけだ。つまり犯人は19人目ではない、イコールならば18人の中に犯人がいる。
Oh, okay. I can also accept this.
はぁ？なんだと？それはどういう意味だ？
そなたの指し手を逆手に取っただけだがな。そう難しい話ではあるまいに。ロノウェ、説明せよ。そなたのさっきのクッキーの箱の例えはバトラにわかりやすいらしい。
He's calling Battler dumb. Well, he is incompetent.
それでは僭越ながら、先ほどの例え話でもう一度ご説明させていただきます。
Allow me to repeat once more my earlier story about two treasure chests, one of which has a cookie inside. In this situation, one of the boxes represents the 18 people and the other box represents the 19th person. Okay? So the cookie would represent the culprit. Battler-sama, you open the 18 box. Because the cookie is not there, you have proven from the opposite direction that therefore the cookie is in the 19 box. I get this? In that case, if we reverse things further, we can also say the following. Namely, if it was first shown that the 19 box was empty, it would prove in just the same way that the cookie is in the 18 box. I get this too. I'm just wondering where they're gonna go with this because Battler's whole assumption here is that you can never prove that that 19 box even exists in the first place. Battler-sama, this move you played in order to avoid having to doubt any of the 18 has in fact been used against you to launch the 18-person attack.
なんだと？
わらわが19人目の箱の中身が空っぽであることを先に証明すれば、そなたは自動的に18人の箱の中にクッキーがあることを認めなければならないということになる。そなたはそれを逆の言い方で口にしたに過ぎんのだぞ。
But how will she prove that 19 box is empty?
つまり、俺の自信満々の一手は、同時に諸刃の剣でもあるってわけか。
Well, to be honest, I guess the only way she can prove it definitively is by using her writ truth.
その通りよ。そなたの19人目で全てを説明する一手は、それが破られた時、18人でしか説明できないことを認めざるを得ないリスクを背負っている。
To be honest, for me, I'm okay using one of the 18, but for Battler, he doesn't want to use the 18, so it's always just gonna be a lot harder for him. I see. Hempel's Raven. So this is a countering technique? Wait, if I really think about it, this countering technique is far more disadvantageous for me than for her. The problem is in thinking about it like a cookie. If I imagine that just one of the treasure chests is a losing chest with a bomb in it, I can begin to understand it quite well. And if I think of it not as two treasure chests, but as 18, one for each person, plus one more for the 19th person, for a total of 19 boxes, it gets even easier to understand. First of all, one of the premises established by the human culprit theory was that the bomb would definitely be in one of those boxes. Because I hadn't wanted to place that bomb in any of the 18 boxes, I had to use the devil's proof and created the 19th box so that I could throw the bomb in there. That much was alright. But Beato had struck back like this. If then the 19th box was empty inside, that would automatically mean that a bomb was set in one of the other 18 boxes. If I could examine the contents of each of the 18 boxes and show that a bomb was not in any one of those boxes, I would be able to safely show that the 18 people were innocent. Right. If that was possible, I would be feeling confident. However, in reality, that's as close as you can get to impossible. The police wouldn't come here in this typhoon. There would be no scientific investigations, no autopsies, no nothing. In short, I can't show anything decisively. I feel like that is the whole point, to use that to your advantage. At least it is for me. It's impossible for me to find any proof other than simply gulping down whatever alibis each of the 18 give. In that case, I have to confirm their innocence both personally and perfectly. Like staying with someone the whole time, never letting them out of my sight for a second. If I do that, I can probably be sure of that person's innocence, and that the bomb is not in the box. However, in reality, something like that is impossible. In other words, I have to expend an incredible effort just to check the contents of one box. And there are 18 of them. In other words, unless I bind all 18 of them in chains and watch over them, which is what I've been thinking of doing, it's impossible to prove that all of them have empty boxes. However, Beato only has to open one box, the 19th box, and show that it is empty to prove that a bomb is in one of the other 18 boxes. Furthermore, there is no need for her to show which of the 18 boxes has the bomb. I have 18 times more work to do to explain my pet theory than Beato does for hers.
"世の中には悪魔の証明がそうであるように、反論に膨大な手間がかかり、事実上不可能であるケースが少なくない。しかし、ヘンペルのカラスはその問題を逆手に取り、容易に実証することを可能とする。
ヘンペルのカラスを使えば、さまざまな暴論が実証可能なのです。例えば、私以外の人間イコール愚かであるという命題があったとします。これを証明するには本来、私を除く全人類を調べ、愚かであることを証明しなければなりません。しかし、何十億人も調べるなど、現実には不可能でしょう。バトラ様の18箱を開ける手間と全く同じです。
しかしヘンペルのカラスならば、その命題は待遇的にこう変換される。つまり、私以外の人間イコール愚かであるをそなた風に言うならば、チェス盤をひっくり返し、愚かではないイコール私として証明してもよいということだ。つまりどういうことだと思う？
All humans except me are foolish, and the contrapositive of that is... Wait, it's if A, then B. If not A, then not B. If I am not human, then I am not foolish? No. That is so wrong. That is so wrong. If not foolish equals me, then if not me equals foolish? I still think that's wrong. I want to hear what they say.
わらわが聡明であるという事実を知るだけで、全人類は愚かであることの何十億人分もの証明が直ちに終了してしまうわけだ。全人類がわらわよりも愚かであることをわずか1秒もかけずに証明終了できる。
Isn't there a problem with this statement though? You still need something to prove that, no? How do you prove that you are wise without proving that everyone else is foolish? How can you know that you are wise? Isn't that the whole point of this argument?
世界最強最速の QED。これぞヘンペルのカラス。
なんつう暴論だよ。
これはとてもとても便利な一手ですよ。悪魔どころか神々も好む一手です。幸福であるイコール神のしもべを命題とするとき、待遇は神のしもべでない人間イコール幸福であってはいけないとなります。つまり神のしもべがその加護によって幸福であることを実証するためには、その加護を受けぬ人々が不幸であることを実証すればいいわけです。
I think they took it a bit further with this, no?
そして彼らは自らの神を信じない人々を不幸に突き落とすことで自らの幸福を実証する。
人に幸福を与えるには莫大なコストがかかる。しかし人を不幸にするのに必要なコストははるかに安上がりだ。つまりヘンペルのカラスを使えば神々は実に低コストで信者に加護の喜びを与えられるわけよ。
悪魔だ。悪魔の理論だ。めちゃくちゃだ。
話がそれてしまったようだな。
And I will say this first here, but I'm definitely going back to reanalyze what they've just said because it's very, very helpful for future theory making.
そろそろ話を戻そうぞ。わらわの反撃の一手は以上だ。そなたの19人目が犯人だから18人は無実で魔女も存在しないへの反撃は、ならば19人目が犯人でないことを証明できたら18人か魔女のどちらかが犯人ということで確定するぞ。
To be honest, I still would agree with this move because I'm just dying to know how she's going to counter. I mean, even if she says this, how is she going to prove that the 19th person is not the culprit?
との確認だ。
For a while, I just stood there, shocked and completely forgetting to close my mouth. Just when I thought that I got my own back on them by using their favorite move against them, the counterattack to that had been this reckless argument that I could not even have begun to imagine. Was it really impossible to continue denying the witch on an island with no more than 18 people, and yet still believe in the innocence of those 18 people? Was that just a delusion? Was I just trying to escape reality? Not yet. Don't give up this struggle yet. Who cares about whoever's raven? You're just trying to speak in riddles by bringing up some weird bits of trivia. I had used the devil's proof. Don't feel doubt in something once you used it. That is it's very true. believe in the spear you've lunged forward with. But I just wonder who they're speaking to. Well, I mean, I being Battler, still, kinda feels like Battler's speaking to me. Apply even more force and gouge it in.
まだまだ序盤だぞ。この程度で長考するつもりか？
いや待て、確認するぞ。
Ooh.
確かに俺は、わかりやすく19人目という言い方をしたが、悪魔の証明によって18人以上人間を増やせるなら、それは10人いるか100人いるかもわからない。不特定多数ということだ。お前が想定する人数より常に1人多い。わかるか？
She had returned my twisted logic with something even more twisted. So the only thing that could counter that would be even crazier twisted logic.
なるほど。わらわが19人目のアリバイを何らかの方法で証明したとしても、その瞬間にそなたは20人目を生み出し犯人だと主張する。これを無限に繰り返すことによって、わらわは永遠に彼らのアリバイの証明が終えられないというわけか。なるほどなるほど。
That would work, right?
さながらイナゴの大群を呼び出す魔王よな。さすがは金蔵の孫よ。召喚術の才能には恵まれていると見える。
つまり、18人以外の存在 X は、常にアリバイを証明することが不可能なんだ。
I just can't help but feel like they've kind of derailed the entire conversation.
どうだ、ベアト。ヘリクス合戦だと分かれば、俺も負けねえぜ。
愚かしいぞ。わらわを誰と心得る。わらわこそは無限の魔女。そのわらわに無限にて挑むとは片払いたいわ。無限を操ることはつまり無限を殺すこともできるということ。わらわが19人目を切れば、そなたは20人目を呼び、20人目を切れば21人目を呼び、21人目を切れば22人目を切れば23人目を呼び34人目を呼び、6計4358兆2235億7967万3204人目を呼び、わらわを永遠に翻弄で生きるとでも？無限交代とは笑わせる。わらわに無限は通じぬわ。
ほう。ならばどうやってこの俺の無限を殺すんだよ。見せてみろよ。
Oh? What was that?
わらわには真実を赤で語る力があろうが。
I knew it. I knew it. It's always going to end up with the red truth.
来やがったな。
わらわが赤で語るとき、そこには一切の幻想がない。
Well, the only thing she needs to say is that one of the 18 is the culprit, and then we will have no choice but to accept it. If we can believe her red truth, of course.
わらわがこの島には100人しかいないと一言赤で語れば、そなたにはもはや101人目を生み出すことは叶わぬのだ。ほーら、バトラ。今度はどんな真実を赤で語ってみせようか。どんな拠り所を叩き切って、そなたを絶望に突き落としてやろうか。そうら、いつもの怯えた顔を見せてみるがいい。
To be honest, there's no need to cower if she doesn't say it in red.
なに？そなた、笑うか。
I wonder what kind of creepy look I had on my face as I laughed right then. That red sure is scary. Every time it jumps out, I'm driven into the depths of hopelessness. But I had already realized it. There was no need to be unnecessarily afraid of the red.
また抜きやがったな。殿下の宝刀だ。それで、今度はベアトリーチェ様は何をどう赤で語ってくださるってんだ？
Exactly, Battler. You don't have to be afraid at all. You just have to wait for what she says in red and work your way around it.
ほう。それはどういう意味か。急に余裕を見せよって。
悪いが、その真っ赤な宝刀は俺も抜いてくれるのを待ってたんだ。さて、お前は今度は何を赤で宣言してくれるんだ？犯人は18人の中にいるとでも言ってくれるのか？言っとくが、そいつは自爆だぜ。
Why would it be self-destruction?
その時点で、お前は魔女説を自ら捨てたも同然。
Oh, okay. I get this. Okay. So she can't. There's no way she can.
まさに盗領だ。
That's right. The red isn't always necessarily to Beato's advantage. On the contrary, if she used it the wrong way, it's dangerous enough that she could bring about her own death. If she used it carelessly and said something which ended up denying herself, that would be exactly the same thing as self-destructing.
確かに俺にとっても、18人の中に犯人がいると赤で言われることは、たとえ誰が犯人であっても、俺はきっと辛い気持ちになるだろうぜ。だが、それはそれ以前に、お前の敗北も意味する。人間が犯人だとお前が赤で語ることは、お前の投了宣言にも等しい。お前が、俺と差し違えても相打ちにしたいってんなら、それも面白い一手だろうぜ。だが、この勝負は俺の勝ちで終わる。
Oh yeah, I like this battler. He's very confident now. Oh. Beatrice's red was truly her secret weapon, a treasured blade. The things she spoke in red would become solidified as the truth, and no amount of evidence or counter-arguments could change them. They had cut me down to size many times now, running into any supports my heart had to lean on. However, if she used it carelessly, then I could also find a little information about the truth. In the last game, especially during the chapel's locked room trick, I had taken advantage of that, and at once closed her in almost completely. But she was also pretty sly. She had learned from experience, and since then had started using discretion in the timing of the red. This feeling of tension was almost literally like a battle with real swords. This was a battle of high intelligence. No, not of intelligence. It was really twisted logic. This was the world's craziest and worst battle of twisted logic.
さあ、今度はお前の手番だぜ。
To be honest, I'm enjoying it. I can't wait to see what silly red truths Beatrice is going to throw my way this episode, and how I'm gonna debunk them all.
そうさ。お前のヘンペルのカラスを使うには、まず、18人以外に何人の人間がいるのかを赤で確定させる必要がある。その上で、それらの人間について、さらに赤で犯人でないことを宣言したならば、なるほど。こいつは俺にとって致命傷になるだろうぜ。
あれほど怯えていた赤を、もはやみじんも怯えぬとはな。たくましいやつよ。
抜いてみろよ。殿下の宝刀。バッサリ決まって、今度こそ俺を屈服できるかもしれねえぜ。
面白い。こうでなくてはな。
Agitate her. Provoke her. drive her into a corner to make her speak in red. Of course, her wit has always cut right through my only threads of hope. But don't be afraid of that. On this island overcome with falsehoods and illusions, the only thing I can trust is the information that she speaks in red. It is my only way across the chasm of hell. Just a single tightrope. Her merciless, blood-red blade is the only way I can survive. This isn't just walking on a tightrope, it's literally like walking on the edge of a blade. Of course I'm afraid. In terms of her contrapositive, my victory condition, the denial of the witch, meant that the culprit was a human. But I didn't want to search for the culprit amidst the 18. Therefore, I held on to a weak point since I had to deny the witch and the 18 at the same time. Since I had been unable to understand that last time, that was where she had hit me, leaving me tattered and defeated. But that's alright. Let her hit me. Let her attack. No problem. Someone said it once in an old sword-fighting movie, that a good fortress has one, and only one, intentionally weak points. The enemy would gather there, they would be lured there, and that would be where the actual battle took place. As long as I understand my weak points, and as long as she wants to attack those weak points, it's as if I've induced her to attack there. Carefully judge the distance from your enemy and retreat step by step. Make them draw their sword first. The more she recklessly flourishes that red, the more chances I'll have to strike back. Don't be afraid of the red. Keep the pressure on so that she is forced to refute with the red. Just like in chess, huh? No matter how oppressively she speaks in red. Yes, that red itself is the same as fresh blood spurting from her wounds.
さあ、どうしたよ。まずはこの島に合計で何人いるのか。さもないと、お前のカラスは俺に切り込めないぜ。
I agree.
破れかぶれがこうもやりにくいとは。捨て身というやつはいつの時代も侮れんな。やはり金蔵の孫か。追い詰められれば追い詰められるほどに不敵。
Ronove cleared his throat.
膠着しましたね。せっかくの紅茶も冷めてしまいますよ、お嬢様。
Ronove, who was supposedly her ally, roguishly rushed her next move. He is a character, for sure. Beato smiled back, probably intending to demonstrate that she was still relaxed, but she couldn't hide the sweat building up on her forehead. By now, she had completely lost that relaxedness which had allowed her to turn her nose up at her worthless opponent. Of course, she probably wasn't really cornered by something like this. She was just being cautious. Until now, I had been inexperienced. I didn't have a good grasp on how to fight, and I was underpowered as an opponent. However, now that we had reached the third game, she realized that I was starting to become skilled, and she had grown more cautious, thinking every move over carefully. Sure, that's just fine, Beatrice. And sorry to have kept you waiting. Are you happy now? What? What? No. Sounds weird.
面白くなってきたぜ。
Oh, that's a new expression.
バトラ
拉致が開かねえな。なら、ズバッと気持ちよく。いつものやつで行こうじゃねえか。
ほう。 いつものやつとな。ならば頼もうではないか。あれを聞かぬと、やはり始まった気がせぬわ。
The usual. The first move was mine.
行くぜ、ベアト。副賞要求。この島には18人しかいない。
She can't say it.
こいつを赤で言われちまったら、俺は18人の誰かを疑わざるを得ない。19人目の仕業にはもうできず、八方塞がりさ。だが、俺は18人の中に犯人が絶対にいないと信じてる。あんな残酷な殺人を18人の誰にも起こせるものか。繰り返すぞ。副賞要求。この島には18人しかいない。
She cannot say it.
拒否する。理由は明かさない。
But it's also true that if she says it, she would also be shooting herself in her foot. Phew. I had avoided what would have been the worst red for me. If she had repeated that, I would have been faced with those two worst choices of accepting the witch or suspecting one of the 18. Like last time, all over again. But Beato had not proclaimed my ultimate and greatest weakness in red. She had declined to repeat it, even though there was no reason why she shouldn't have struck. Even though it was a weakness she should have been drooling at. Is it really? She hasn't sliced me up with red by using that move, which should have been as good as forking a rook and a king. This was a big sign of my advantage. That's right. The culprit isn't one of the 18 people. I won't doubt anyone. And since the culprit isn't a witch either, it means that a 19th person exists on this island. And that's you. What? Okay. They mean Beatrice. The mistress? A person who, as grandfather's mistress of 30 years, has been living secretly in a hidden mansion in the forest for a long, long time. The human Beatrice.
そうさ。お前は魔女なんかじゃない。この島に何十年も隠れ住んできた。ただの人間なんだ。
千年を経た無限の魔女のわらわをただの人間呼ばわりしたか。
For a while, Beatrice continued to laugh unpleasantly, gloating or maybe spiteful. No, I would like to think that she's laughing because she has no comeback for two battlers' attack.
いいか、続けるぜ。続けて副賞要求。この島には19人以上がいる。
Beatrice fell silent once again. The feeling that confirming the number of humans on this island might possibly stand to give her some large disadvantage was probably making her extremely cautious. The red had already become a foothold for my counterattack. With that in mind, the red had become a risk for the witch. But if she couldn't repeat this, her Hempel's raven wouldn't work. In order to break my devil's proof, first, the existence of and number of people outside the 18 needed to be confirmed in red. That's right. She couldn't break the existence of her 19th person unless she used red. I had closed Beato in, giving her no choice but to speak in red. There really was a way to fight in this witch's game. But I'm also kind of scared because whenever things start feeling hopeful, Beatrice knows how to crush battlers' hopes right then and there.
拒否してもいいんだぜ。お前が赤で言えないなら、 この島の合計人数は18プラス X ってことになる。この X は初手で許すには相当でかい大駒だぜ。何しろ以後18人の誰にも不可能だったという根拠のトリックは全て18人以外の人間 X で説明可能になる。全員アリバイ系の密室を全て打ち破れる大駒だ。
It was just like a bishop in chess, which can cut a thin line through enemy forces as long as there's a slight gap. It only exerts an effect over squares of the same color, but it has a great ability to control the board. It looked like Beato also well understood her current plight. She couldn't just let such an important piece go, especially this close to the beginning of the game. If she pulled out her red treasured sword, it wouldn't be that difficult to save that piece. But Beato was completely aware that I was expecting it. She was afraid that a careless red truth might end up strangling her own neck. Because, in the first place, a witch was something which should be denied in red. Believe. Don't doubt. Witches don't exist. Something like that can't exist in this world. They can only exist in the cracks of reality. They are a fragile existence, curled up in these cracks, frantically trying to protect themselves from the brutal winds of truth. And they can only barely exist like a mirage by surviving on falsehoods and fantasy. In other words, the red, which only witches can use, is the very reality by which they risk denying themselves. The more they brandish their red words, the more they begin to lose, bit by bit, that crack in reality inside which they can endure. That is why they don't want, through the red, to carelessly lose that crack in reality which is based on fuzzy information, or in other words, fantasy. Because they understand that they would be gradually cornering themselves. Of course, she would never admit it. Because if she did, it would be the same as admitting that she is something that can't exist in this world, like an imaginary number. Don't be afraid. Stay strong. She knows this deep down, and better than anyone. That her red treasured sword can't easily be used without considerable resolve.
どうしたよ。繰り返すぜ。副将要計。この島には19人以上がいる。
拒否する。
At the end of a long, long time spent deliberating, letting a single deep breath escape, she quietly proclaimed her refusal. I had thought that she'd use it, but Beato refused to speak in red, even though it would cost her victory in the opening part of the game.
拒否したな。ということは今後、俺は18人以外の架空人物 X を何人でも使い放題ってことになるぜ。
But if she did say it in red, Battler could also say that there are 18 plus X people. By declining to say it in red, she leaves it open the possibility that there isn't 19 people.
好きにするがよい。わらわはそなたの復唱を拒否した。
Well, in any case, because she doesn't ever say definitively in red that there are only 18 people, Battler is always free to come up with as many fictional characters as he wants.
今はそれで十分であろう。拒否の理由は、いや、今はまだ明かされ、いずれすぐにわかる。
Oh, now I'm curious.
もったいぶりやがってよ。
あえて使わぬ赤もまた赤らしい使い方よ。そなたは赤き宝刀と呼んだな。 愉快な例え。わらわも使おう。宝刀は抜かぬうちが花よ。むしろ抜かぬことによって醸せる畏怖というものもある。
そうだな。俺はお前がいつ赤でひっくり返してくるか常に念頭に置いて戦わなければならない。こいつはえれえプレッシャーだ。それに副将を拒否される方が辛い場合もある。何しろ俺の読みが正しいから拒否できないのか、ミスリードにはまって泳がされてるのか区別がつかないからな。そういう意味ではなるほど抜かずの宝刀ってわけだ。
なあ、同じ突き落とすなら少しでも高いところに行かせてからに限る。まだ始まったばかり。まだまだ。この勝負は今はわらわがリザインする。淡き勝利に今は弱い。今はね。
Well, that was alright. That bitter comment did, in fact, appear to have marked the end of the game's opening battle. Even so, I couldn't relax my guard at all. I was unable to relax my feeling of tension until I was greeted by the sound of Ronove's applause.
お見事です、バトラ様。まずは序盤はバトラ様有利の展開でスタートというところでしょうか。
Well, we could say episode 2 also started with Battler's victory, but then it went downhill from there.
さあな、この駒が俺の手でもぎ取ったものなのか、取るよう誘導されたものかはまだわからねえな。
Yeah, maybe it was her intentionally weak point.
どうせお前のことだ。俺が罠にはまり始めてるのを知ってて、白々しく拍手をしてるんだろ。
まさか。序盤とはいえ、お嬢様より一本を奪った手腕を純粋に祝福いたしております。何しろお嬢様はすぐ増長するお方。たまにはこのような刺激も良い薬かと思いますよ。
お前んとこの執事、ほんと口悪いな。
であろう？たまにわらわでもカチンとくるぞ。
それは大変に失礼いたしました。さあさあ、お嬢様にバトラ様、紅茶のおかわりはいかがですかな。まだゲームは始まったばかりでございます。ゲームを彩るお茶とお菓子はどうかこの私めにお任せを。どうぞお気兼ねなくゲームをお進めになってください。
そうさせてもらう。先を進めるぜ。これからが本番だ。
よかろう。時計を進めようではないか。ロノウェ、紅茶を頼む。
かしこまりました。クッキーはい
らぬ。ベルゼブブにやれば喜ぼう。しばし沈黙せよ。
While listening to the sound of Demon Butler pouring tea, the witch closed her eyes slightly and fell into silence. For some time, she was deeply lost in thought, but eventually a roguish glint came into her eyes.
よかろう。わらわがどうして初手にて赤で語るのを拒否したのか。
Oh,
今より分からせてやろうぞ。
she's going to reveal it so fast?
何？上等じゃねえかよ。お手並み拝見と行くぜ。
やはり見逃すには惜しい大駒よ。
Is she going to introduce a 19th piece?
拙速かもしれぬが動かせてもらおう。赤は使わぬが、今よりそれをわらわに代わってローザが説明する。聞くがよい。
But it is not in red. Okay. I hate that laugh. So creepy. But we're back.
もちろん私も同意よ。ローザもそうでしょ？ローザ？
ごめんなさい。私も同じよ。同意するわ。
I don't think she actually heard anything.
どうしたんや、ローザさん。あんたさっきからずいぶんおとなしいな。体調でも悪いんとちゃうか？
From the beginning, Rosa had never been one to willingly cut in on the siblings' fights. But even so, she seemed unmotivated and had said almost nothing at all during the night's conference. The whole time she had been hanging her head and appeared to be thinking of something else.
あんたさっきからぼんやりしてるわよ。そんなので遺産が守れると思ってるの？あんたも一児の母なんだから、もっとしっかりなさいよ。
ごめんなさい。
朝がだいぶ早かったんじゃないかね。体調が悪いなら無理をしない方がいいだろう。
客室にベッドの用意がありますよ。お休みになってはいかがですか？ご案内しますよ。
いえ、大丈夫です。ありがとう。
どうしたんだ？何か心配事でもあるのか？
いえ、別に。
そう？さっきからずっと心ここにあらずという感じよ。そしてそれは今私たちがしている議題と何か関係があるんじゃないかしら。
At those words, everyone stared at Rosa together. As if in response, Rosa's shoulders quivered. Apparently, Hidea's guess hadn't been wrong. Nor did Rosa deny it.
いえ、
I'm dying to know. She swallowed whatever it was she had been about to say and went silent again. By now, even the other siblings were also beginning to realize that something about her demeanor was different from usual.
どうしたんだ？さっきからおかしいぞ。何か思うことでもあるのか？
わしら全員で団結しようって誓い合ったばかりやないか。一人で悩むなんて水臭い話やで。話したってな。
ローザ、話しなさい。
Pressed by the men one after the other, Rosa made up her mind and nervously began to open up. It was almost as though she was trying to confess to some modest prank which had inadvertently brought about a serious situation. Such was the atmosphere in the room.
いえ、ベアトリーチェっていうお父様の愛人って本当に生きてるのかしらって思って。
Oh, okay. So you're gonna come at this angle.
はあ？そりゃ生きてるに決まってるでしょう。こうして手紙を送ってくるぐらいだもの。
元気かどうかは別の問題だろうけどな。肖像画の美女も。今じゃきっといいお年だろうぜ。
元気やと思うで。金のことで悪知恵働くやつは決まっていくつになっても元気や。
That would explain why all the siblings here look so healthy too.
案外悪巧みは最高の回春剤かもしらへんで。
生きてるはずないの。
Why so definitively?
今なんて？
ベアトリーチェは死んでるのよ。
Why?
私が殺した。
Oh my goodness, what the hell?
なんだって？
I was afraid that we were going to see a corpse, but Rosa just said something way worse.
どういうことよ、ローザ？
でも、私が殺したわけじゃ。でも、私があんなところに連れ出したから、やっぱり私が殺したのよ。あれは夢だと思い込もうとしたのよ。
What do you mean, Rosa?
でも、やっぱりあれは夢じゃなかったのよ。だ だからこれはベアトリチェの俺からの手紙なのよ。
It was so sudden that everyone was lost for words. Rosa kept on talking, unable to stop, holding her head as her hair flew all about.
どうか落ち着いて、ローザさん。
わしには何がないやらさっぱりや。もう死んどる？どういう意味なんや。
二つの意味があると思うわ。まず一つ目は、そしてもう一つは、私たちの想像が正しかったことを裏付けるもの。
ということは、ローサはベアトリーチェに会ったことがあるというのかね。
そんな話、ローザの口からは一度も聞いたことがないわ。ローザ、いつよ？あなたは一体いつベアトリーチェに会ったのよ。
Calm down, Eva. When you see your sister is in such a state.
昔よ。ずっと昔よ。まだこの島に引っ越してきたばかりで、私は幼かった。私は悪くないの。私が殺したわけじゃ。
落ち着け。誰もお前を責めちゃいねえぜ。まずは水でも飲め。な、夏日さん、水差しを頼む。
はい。
This picture. I can't help but suspect that picture.
どうぞ、ローザさん。どうか落ち着いて。
Until Rosa was able to regain her calm amidst her ragged breathing, no one was able to speak a word. That's it? No way! Rosa and the Witch of the Forest. Isn't this Beatrice's home? We're going back in time? That's a huge fence.
ベアトリーチ。
Wait a minute. What? I assumed that this is Beatrice's old ancestral home, but I also feel like it is Rokkenjima, and that Kinzo built Rokkenjima? A house, a mansion on Rokkenjima? Why is the fence so high?
先ほどから呼んでおる。
No, the more important question is, why is Kinzo here?
聞こえなんだか？
そうであったか。
What? What is that? Why is her voice so different?
すまぬ。ぼんやり考え事をしていた。許せ。
良い天気だな。なるほど。陽気に心を奪われるのもわかるというもの。
Kinzo still has his old man voice, but Beatrice has a young girl's voice.
紅茶はここで飲むか？
わらわは何者なのか。
What?
今紅茶を持ってくる。
Maybe this isn't Beatrice at all. Maybe it's one of Kinzo's furniture.
しばし待て。
紅茶は良い。わらわの話に付き合え。
よかろう。
Kinzo had used the excuse of going to bring some black tea to try and interrupt the conversation for the time being. But his attempt had been very transparent. I sat in the garden chair and beckoned Kinzo to do the same. Kinzo sat down heavily, exaggerating his age. For a while we sat, appreciating the silence.
わらわは何者なのか。この問いに
今日まで答えてくれた者はおらぬ。なぜか皆目をそらし、はぐらかす。そなたとは長い仲だ。わらわはそなたを無二の友であり、そして父ですらあると思っておる。だからどうか教えてほしい。そなたは知っているはずだ。わらわが何者であるかを。
I am so confused.
なぜにそのようなことが気になるのか。そなたはベアトリーチェ、この屋敷の主ではないか。それ以上の何を知りたいというのか。
わからぬ。
なんだ、何が知りたいのか自分でもわからぬというのか。それは不可解な。若き日には出口なき思考の迷路にて遊びたくなることもある。そなたの悩みもそれであろう。
Kinzo laughed as though it was a trivial matter. However, I couldn't help but feel that this behavior was nothing but another attempt to force me to stop my further questioning.
やはりそなたもそれを語ってはくれぬのか。
語ることなど何もない。そなたはベアトリーチェだ。それで十分ではないか。
いや違う。わらわが知りたいのは名前ではない。わらわが何者なのかだ。わらわは誰で、何で、いつからここにいて、そしていつまでここで日々を過ごせばよいのか。
Why does it sound like she doesn't know who she is? As in, like someone who has their memories wiped clean, and it sounds like Kinzo has been keeping her in this mansion. I don't think it's his mansion. I feel like he might have built this separate property that looks like Beatrice's old ancestral home and keeps her here. Maybe this is where he's going off to. So maybe actually he might have a mansion hidden somewhere then. But still, Beatrice is acting kind of weird if this is Beatrice.
やはり紅茶を持ってこよう。せっかくの陽気がもったいないとは思わぬか。
これは何の話だ。どうやらお前の昔話のようだが。
そのようだな。まさかここまで遡るとは。
自分は誰なのかとはまた。
So it is her, but it's a version of her that she couldn't remember in the past.
えらく高尚な悩みをお持ちのようじゃねえか。
無理もない。当時のわらわは自分が何者なのか、何のために生きているのかを理解できなかった。
ま、誰でも思春期になると自分の生きる意味とは何ぞやみたいな哲学的な悩みに一度はとらわれるものさ。
Battler, I don't think you understand what she's saying.
お前にもそんな微笑ましい時期があっただけという話だろ。
わらわは生まれた時からその屋敷におった。そして屋敷の中だけで生きた。もちろん庭には出られたが、敷地はとても高い柵で囲まれており、それを出ることはできず、また出てはならないと厳しく言われておった。わらわはな、屋敷と庭は自由に歩けたが、その外へは自らの意志ではたった一歩。
そりゃどういう意味だよ。
It sounds like such a strict upbringing. and strange, very strange.
物心ついた時からずっとカゴの鳥だったって言いたいのか？
Well, it certainly does sound like that.
そういうものだと思っていた。何しろ気づいた時からそういう生活だったからな。疑問にも思わなかった。
お前一体何者なんだ？
それよ、それこそ。
どうせ人間ではなくて魔女でしたって言いやがるんだろ？
いや違う、まだ違う。いや、かつてそうだったと言うべきか。わらわは金蔵によって作られた、人間によって作られた人間だ。
What? What? A human built by a human and then turned into a witch? What? What? Oh my goodness.
いや、肉でできた檻とでも言うべきか。
なんだよそりゃ。妙な話を言い出しやがって。
It's very weird. And from the way she speaks of it, she doesn't like it.
どうせそなたは信じぬだろうがな。まずは聞け。わらわは千年を経た偉大なる魔女であった。しかしある時、金蔵によって呼び出され、その秘術にて永遠の虜となるよう縛られたのだ。
そりゃ初耳だぜ。後ろ宮家で知られてる話では、お前はじいさまに呼び出されて悪魔の契約みたいなのを結んで黄金を授けたってことになってるぜ。
Yeah.
うん。それは正しい。そしてわらわは黄金を授け、契約の終わる時まで姿を消すはずだった。しかし、まあモテる女の辛いとこよな。金蔵はこともあろうか、わらわに恋をした。
じいさまも金眼が進んでたんだろうよ。ついでに乱視だな。よりによってお前に惚れるとはよ。
まあわらわにとっては迷惑この上ない話よ。しかし人間の力とは恐ろしいものでな。あれは恐ろしい力を発揮してわらわをこの地へ釘付けにしたのだ。わらわが首を縦に振らぬ限り解放せぬと言ってね。
What kind of power does Kinzo as a human hold that would be greater than the power of a witch? And Beatrice said this before in episode 1. Well, she didn't say it, but it was in the what's it called? The character menu, in which she says that the power to kill her or to put an end to it essentially is in the grasp, in Battler's palms, something like that.
なんとも強引な男よ。
すげえじゃねえかよ。じいさまがオカルトかぶれなのは誰もが知るところだが、大魔女ベアトリーチェ様を釘付けにするほどの力があったとはな。へっ、バカバカしい。そんなおかしな話信じると思うか？
I wonder if the mirror that Shannon broke is what ties Beatrice to that cage.
やはり信じぬか。
俺が信じるのは、お前が森の中の秘密屋敷に隠居していたって事実だけだ。お前こそが六軒島の中級人目なんだろう。
いかにもそなたの想像通り、ここは六軒島の森深く、外界からは見つけることもかなわぬ隠し屋敷。その名もクワドリア。
Nine Birds Retreat.
そういや、ゲストハウスの正しい名はトライアンだって聞いたな。
Oh.
なるほど。ネーミングセンスは近いな。そしてお前はそこに隠居していたじいさまの愛人。そうだな。
愛人というのは正しくない。 金蔵の片思いであったと言うべきだろう。先ほども話したであろう。あれが勝手にわらわに惚れた。そしてわらわに求愛したが、それをわらわは拒んだ。そしてわらわをこの隠し屋敷へ閉じ込めたのだ。いや、屋敷に閉じ込めたというのは正しくないか、この体に閉じ込めたというべきか。
Like a human body. Is that what she's saying? That's why she wasn't able to use her powers before Shannon broke the mirror?
最後が何を言ってるのかわかんねえぜ。
どうせそなたはバカにして聞かぬであろう。何しろ魔女も魔法も信じぬという。語れど聞く耳を持たぬというならば、それを口にするは愚の骨頂だ。
信じるかどうかは俺が判断するぜ。聞かなきゃ話も進まねえしな。話せよ、お前の昔話を。
I'm dying to know.
金蔵はわらわに求愛を拒まれたが、それ式でへこたれる男ではない。どうあってもわらわの首を縦に振らせたかった。わらわをこの屋敷へ閉じ込め、わらわを口説き落とそうと永遠の時間を費やしたのだ。
Kinzo really doesn't know how to take no for an answer. That's pretty bad.
強引なやつだな。しつこい男は嫌われるだろ。
求愛に応えるかどうかは別にして、男をそこまで必死にさせるのは、まあ女としてそう不愉快ではない。しかしわらわは決して首を縦には振らなかった。なんとかその戒めから逃れようとしたが、あれの結界は強固で破れなかった。
それで
さまざまな抵抗を試みた結果、金蔵の結界から逃れるには肉の体を捨てるほかないという結論に至った。
I think that is what Rosa is referring to?
肉体というものは魔法を語る上でとても制約の多い器なのだ。
肉の体を捨てる？なんだよそれ。幽体離脱みたいなものか？
まあそんなものと考えればよい。しかしわらわは精霊ではない。魔女ではあっても、もともとは肉の体で生まれ落ちた人間だ。そのわらわにとって肉体を捨てるということは死を意味するほどではないにしても、それに準ずる覚悟が必要だった。
それはつまり自殺することでしか解放されないと決意したって意味なのか？
自殺ではない。あくまでも肉の体を捨てるだけのことだ。もちろん魂だけになるのは心もとない。魂は肉の体を出れば太陽の強い風に絶えずさらされてしまう。それによって吹き散らされないように自らを維持するのはわらわとて容易なことではない。できることなら避けたい最後の手段だった。しかし金蔵の結界から逃れるにはそれしかなかったのだ。何しろわらわは自由人。金蔵の生が果てるまでカゴにて飼われるのはごめんというもの。
I couldn't understand this story Beato kept going on about throwing away her body of flesh, as anything more than suicide. Grandfather persistently courted her, and to escape from that, she chose her own death.
それで自殺したってのか？何を言ってやがる。当のお前はそこでのんびりガーデンチェアに腰掛けてるじゃねえか。
そうだ。それこそが金蔵によって与えられた新たな檻だったのだ。
I see.
檻？この屋敷のことか？
違う。
Her body.
そこのガーデンチェアにてくつろぐわらわの体のことだ。金蔵は魂となって抜け出そうとしたわらわを、それでもなお逃すつもりはなかったのだ。いやいや、恐ろしいやつ。普通は片思いの女が死んでみせれば100年の恋も冷めるであろうに。だからこそあれも魔術師の端くれなのか。
So, Beatrice has been trying over and over again, and Kinzo has been trapping her over and over again. That's what it sounds like.
さっぱりわからねえ魔女っ子トークで煙に巻くな。つまり、なんだってんだ。
金蔵は魂となったわらわすらも逃さなかったということだ。人間の思いというやつは恐ろしい。これほどまでの魔力を発揮するとは。死者の魂をつなぎ止めるなど、それを専門に弓道する魔術師でもおいそれと至れぬ境地よ。わらわはそれを知るからこそ、金蔵の恐るべき魔力にその時初めて驚愕した。そして金蔵はわらわの魂を捕まえ連れ戻したのだ。だが魂を捕らえておく檻は鉄でも鉛でも作れない。ただ一つを除いて。
なんだよ。魔法の檻だとでも言い出すのかよ。
違う。わらわやそなたのようなこの肉の体だ。肉と血でできた檻だけが魂をこの世につなぎ止める。
Now I wonder, where did he get the body from? And did he kill someone to do so? I'm kind of taken back to, was it the beginning of episode 2? Kennen said something about his job being filthy, and I assumed that meant he had to kill people or something like that. Now I'm starting to wonder if there's any connection between this, what Beatrice is saying, and possibly what Kennen does.
金蔵はわらわの魂をわらわと瓜二つに作り上げた肉の檻に
要約するとこういうことか。じいさまがしつこく求愛するんで嫌になり自殺したが、うまく死にきれなかったってことだろ。回りくどい言い方しやがってからに。
いいや違う。わらわはホムンクルスの種子に魂を閉じ込められ、試験管の中より生まれ入れたのだ。
はあ？バカバカしい。そんなのあるわけねえだろ。
生命を生み出す奇跡すらも金蔵は成し遂げたのだ。わらわの魂を閉じ込める檻にするためだけにな。己の恋心だけでこれほどの魔力を見せるとは、つくづく恐ろしいやつよ。
もうさすがにバカバカしくなってきたぜ。
It truly has.
好きなだけ言ってろってんだ。俺は何も信じねえぜ。勝手にやってやがれってんだ。
なんだその不愉快な態度は。
最初は何か重大なヒントが隠されているだろうと多少の興味を示したが、聞けば聞くほどおかしな話になっていく。魔女を否定するゲームのはずなのに、いつの間にか魔女話を鵜呑みにさせられていく気がするぜ。悪いがこれ以上耳を貸す気はねえな。勝手に好きなだけほざいてろよ。耳クソでもほじってるからよ。
Oh, she looks sad. When I started showing a cold attitude, Beato acted unusually discouraged. Of course, her expression was still brazen. But I had the feeling that I was able to catch a glimpse of loneliness because I hadn't found the story of her past interesting, in that really easy to understand expression of hers. For some reason, That slight reaction made her seem pitiful. So even though I kept my couldn't care less attitude, I decided to humor her slightly. Damn it. Even though she's an irritating witch, I'm still weak against her because her chromosomes are XX. Oh goodness, Battler.
ま、信じる気は毛頭ねえけどよ。続けろよ。お茶菓子代わりに聞いてやるぜ。
わらわの身の上話が茶化扱いとはな。そこまでこき下ろされてまでのこのこ語ると思うか？
After I made fun of her, Beato reacted a little sensitively. It looked like, even though making fun of people was her speciality, she was horrible at being made fun of by other people. Just then, my cup of black tea suddenly made a sound, surprising me.
お嬢様の魂は捕らえられ、新しい生命の檻に吹き込まれました。それはつまり、お嬢様が再び人間として生を受けたということです。
Is she human? Or a witch? Before I had realized it, the demon butler had appeared and taken my cup, and was adding more black tea to it.
ロノウェ、もうその話はよい。こやつはバカバカしくて危険と言うでな。わらわもバカバカしくて話す気にもならぬ。
Battler, how could you? You ruined it for all of us.
新しいクッキーを今、焼かせているところでございます。それまで、お茶菓子代わりに、お嬢様の昔話がちょうどいいかと思いまして。
He's horrible.
もうわらわの話は良いというのに。揃って不愉快な奴らだ。わらわは席を外すぞ。
No, Beatrice, don't leave.
ロノウェ、給仕を済ませたらとっとと下がるのだぞ。バトラと無駄話などするでないぞ。
かしこまりました。努力いたします。
Aww. Beato's confusing female short temper took hold of her, and she turned her body into gold butterflies, scattered and disappeared. I don't think it's her short temper, Battler. I think it is your fault. After that, only Ronove and the scent of the black tea were left.
なんだか、俺が怒らせたみたいで気分が悪いぜ。
ご自覚があられるようですので、これ以上申し上げることはございませんよ。
ちょっと待てよ。とどめを刺したのはお前だろうが。
はて、何のことやら。お砂糖とミルクはいかがですかな？
ミルクだけでいいぜ。あと、お茶菓子も欲しいな。
クッキーが焼けるには、まだ時間がかかりますよ。
茶化の代わりがあるって言ったぜ。
かしこまりました。ご清聴をいただけるのでしたら、続きをお話しいたします。
ホムンクルスがなんとかって言ったな。一応は知ってるぜ。あれだろ？錬金術だかで作り出せ、人造人間のことだろ？
はい。お嬢様の魂は、ホムンクルスに閉じ込められ、再び赤子となって生を受け、この世に蘇ったのです。しかし、赤子でございますから、金蔵様が愛を語ろうとも、それは無駄なことでございます。
Now I wonder. In the beginning of episode 3, she did say grandfather, but perhaps that grandfather was just Kinzo? Now that is just weird.
まさか。じいさまはその赤ん坊をこの隠し屋敷に、同じ年に成長するまで閉じ込めたってのか？
はい。そのまさかでございます。しかし、魂は同じといえど、人間の魂はその器に強く影響を受けます。お嬢様はかつての記憶をすべて失われ、 ごく普通の人間の少女として成長されました。
Now this really just throws things into a different perspective. And Kinzo is really so much more of an asshole than he already is.
それが、そこのガーデンチェアに座ってるベアートだってのか？
はい、その通りでございます。まさに瓜二つに成長なされました。しかし魔女としての力は持ち合わせておりません。あくまでも人間としてのお嬢様なのです。
Beato, who was sitting in the garden chair, looking up at the sky, asked that same question again. She asked who she was. The meaning of those words was finally starting to click. She couldn't understand why she was living here, all locked up. Grandfather had seized Beatrice's soul, shut it up in a body of flesh, and then shut that up in a hidden mansion. However, since she had lived here since the time she was born, she couldn't even understand who she was, or why she lived shut up in there. Wait. Who would take such a stupid story seriously? Me, apparently. Why don't I change my interpretation? Essentially, couldn't it be something like this? Grandfather met Beatrice. He then fell in love with her and courted her, but she didn't nod her head in agreement. And so he got angry and shut her up inside this hidden mansion. Beatrice tried to escape, but no matter what she did, she couldn't succeed. So she finally chose her own death. And then, maybe there was a girl that looked just like Beatrice. No, a baby. And grandfather raised this child with care. But maybe grandfather didn't view this child as his daughter. Shut my soul up once more into a cage of flesh. Those words probably meant that he didn't view this kid as her child, but as her reincarnation. That is so messed up. Maybe that's what it meant. If you interpret it that way, even a weird story might make a little sense. No. This might be some bullshit Beato cooked up to confuse me. As if I could accept any of this. In the first place, Uadorian, was it? There's no proof whatsoever that a hidden mention, actually existed. Couldn't this be something she just fabricated on the spot?
六軒島の森の中にはクワドリアンという隠し屋敷が実在します。
I forgot that they could use red.
それが今話をしていた場所です。
Well, he didn't say this in red, so it may not be the same place.
赤
Ronove used the red to say that Kuadorian actually existed. Did that mean the same thing as the red Beato used?
これでも悪魔の端くれでございますので、お嬢様には内緒にしてくださいね。
Should I use this as a little hint? Beato, who knew I would try to trip her up, had grown extremely cautious when using red. To think that Ronove could also use that red. Wait, I did say that I could use it as a hint, but knowing him, I feel like it's a trap too. Of course, it's the red of a crafty man. Well said, Battler. I don't know how far I can accept it. But anyway, I might be able to get some hint out of it.
このクワドリアンの庭でくつろいでるベアトとさっきのじい様との会話は真実なのか？
はい、真実です。かつて実際にこの場所でお二人はこのような会話をなされました。
助かるぜ。
I accidentally skipped forward, but I'm trying to connected to the epitaph, the key that a two spoke of. Was it the key or the location that a two spoke of? I just can't help but feel like it's Beatrice and Kinzo.
さらに赤で頼む。あいつ、ホムンクルスから生まれたなんて言いやがったが、そんな非科学的な魔法的存在、実在するのか？
He is not going to answer this.
その問いかけにはお答えできません。理由はステイルメイトになるからでございます。
ステイルメイト？なんだそりゃ。
チェスの用語で千日手のパーペチュアルと同様に、それ以上のゲーム進行が不可能になる宣言です。これは千日手とは正反対で、指し手がなくなる、ある種の手詰まりの状態を指します。パーペチュアルに同じで、チェスではこれを引き分けにしております。ただし、お嬢様とバトラ様のゲームでは引き分けがございません。ですので、ステイルメイトになる質問には赤でお答えすることができないのです。
よくわからねえこと言って煙に巻いてるが。つまり、ホムンクルスなんて魔法的存在が実在するって、赤で言えないからごまかしてるだけなんだろ？
仮に私が赤で魔女は実在すると言ったら、バトラ様はどういたしますか？
You would probably go into a corner and start crying.
それを信じるか信じないかで、俺たちは大喧嘩してるんじゃねえかよ。それを言われちまったら身も蓋もないぜ。ゲームオーバーだ。
魔女は存在すると赤で申し上げたなら、バトラ様には反論の余地がありません。しかしバトラ様はその理由が示されない以上、それを受け入れないでしょう。しかし赤で語られる以上、反論の余地もなく証拠も示されない。この場合、バトラ様は敗北を認められないにもかかわらず、反論の手がなく手詰まりとなってしまいます。チェックメイトされていないにもかかわらず、次なる指し手が存在しない。バトラ様が次の一手を打てない以上、お嬢様に手番が回ってくることはなく、ゲームはそこで永遠に止まってしまう。その結果、お嬢様があなたを屈服させることもできない。これが手詰まりの状態です。それを回避するため、このような形になるご質問には赤でお答えすることができないのです。
早い話が、身も蓋もない質問は禁止だと、そう言いたいわけだな。まあ、そりゃそうだよな。赤で魔女は実在するって言われちまったら、俺は鼻からお手上げだぜ。
ご理解いただけて助かります。他の形の質問でしたらご協力できるかと思いますよ。
奴がはぐらかした副賞要求には答えられるか？この島の人数だ。
お嬢様が保留されている副賞要求にももちろん答えられませんよ。お嬢様の家具でございますので、出過ぎた真似はできかねます。
Ronove made an exaggerated gesture, trying to act like a loyal retainer. This guy's so shameless.
一瞬でも使えるやつと思ったのによ。諦めて他の質問を探すか。そうだ、大事なことを確認するのを忘れてた。これはベアとの思い出話なんだろ？いつの話なんだ？まさか現在ってことはないだろ。
はい、ここは1967年の世界。
We are in the past? About 20 years in the past?
19年前の世界でございます。
Let's go through the story one more time. I wonder if it couldn't be something like this. Grandfather had a person with whom he fell in unrequited love called Beatrice, and he confined her in this hidden mansion and continually courted her. But she was stubborn and didn't say yes. Eventually, she grew pessimistic about being unable to escape from here, and probably committed suicide. And then, her soul was put into a homunculus and... No, if I accept that, it's the same as accepting the witch. I can interpret that part like this. She probably left a daughter behind when she died. That talk about the soul being put in a new body probably meant that grandfather raised that child, believing it to be the reincarnation of Beatrice. In that case, Beato must have existed on this island for at least the last 19 years as the 19th person, and then, Hello, Battler?
混乱してきたぜ。いずれにせよ、憶測の域を出ない。確実に赤で言えることは、1967年の六軒島の隠し屋敷に、人間としてのベアトリーチェが存在した。それだけだ。
Look at Battler trying to use red.
その通りでございます。1967年の六軒島の隠し屋敷に、人間としてのベアトリーチェ様が存在した。
ああ、サンキュー。助かるぜ。
おめでとうございます。これでバトラ様の19人目の駒は、その存在がはっきりしました。バトラ様が熱望された18人以外に罪をなすりつけられる19人目の人間。
Isn't Rosa about to smash that all into pieces now?
いかなる罪をもなすりつけることのできる生贄の羊。それがお嬢様とは実に愉快。
Ronove laughed indiscreetly. Somehow I didn't like his phrasing, so I didn't feel like laughing along with him.
そうだ。ローザおばさんは言った。ベアトリーチェは死んだ。私が殺した。どういう意味なんだ。
それは私の口から語るよりも、実際に顛末をご覧になった方が早いでしょう。少々、時計を進めましょ
う。Ronove pulled a stylish pocket watch from his pocket and made to wind the crown. As soon as he did, I saw gold butterflies gather behind Renove's back and take the form of a person. Another person? Was it Beato? I quickly realized that it was someone else. Ooh. Oh. It was her. The oldest sister of the Seven Stakes, who loved tormenting me more than anything else. If I don't think myself lucky to see that sexy ass, I won't be able to play along with their torture game.
ロノウェ様、まだこちらにおられましたか。ベアトリーチェ様が至急お呼びです。
はて、至急のどのようなご用やら。少々、バトラ様とのおしゃべりが過ぎたようですね。それではバトラ様、私めはこれで失礼させていただきます。どうか引き続き、お嬢様とのゲームをお楽しみください。
へい。せいぜい楽しむぜ。あんたは、ベアトより話が弾むからな。赤も気前よく使ってくれるしよ。ぜひまた、おしゃべりに来いよな。
バトラ様、私めも、こう見えてもお嬢様の家具。お嬢様が望まぬことはできませんよ。私が語った赤は、本来なら、お嬢様が自らの口で語るべきもの。へそを曲げてしまわれたお嬢様に代わって、赤き真実を披露したに過ぎません。
やっぱ俺、へそを曲げてたよな。
Seeing me and Ronove incomprehensibly hitting it off, that Seven Stakes chick cocked her head slightly.
ロノウェ様、ベアトリーチェ様をお待たせしております。お急ぎを。
直ちに参ります。それではバトラ様、後ほど。ようやく仲良くなれてきましたね。やはり良い友人になれる気がします。
ベアとの陰口仲間ってことならな。
ロノウェ様。
はいはい、それでは失礼いたします。
Maybe it was because she really didn't like seeing him act friendly with me, or maybe it was because she had really been told to hurry. The Seven Sticks babe bellowed sharply at Ronove, and he laughed foolishly and disappeared as if running away. Battler, you should learn her name.
煉獄の七杭が長女のこの私が、この程度の用事で呼びつけられるなんて。ベアトリーチェ様も、この程度なら他の暇そうな妹たちに言いつければいいのに。
何をカリカリしてんだよ、姉ちゃん。腹減ってんならクッキーでも食えよ。最後の一枚をくれてやるぜ。
気が利くじゃない。なら、一ついただこうかしら。
I lightly pushed the snack plate with the last remaining cookie on it over to her.
ありがとう。
Oh, what? What happened? As though coming as a replacement for the period at the end of a sentence, a sharp sound pierced the table. The nails on 3 of her fingers had sharply extended and were stuck. Her hairs breathed into the gaps between my fingers on a hand I had used to push the plate. What? It had happened in an instant, so for a while I didn't even realize that her fingernails had grown. The tips of those sharp nails were like blades with a red manicure. The spaces between the bases of my fingers prickled. Those razor-like blades were sticking sharply into the back of my hand and into the spaces between my fingers. By those 3 blades, my carelessly outstretched right hand was not even permitted to shake, and all I could do now was allow a single line of cold sweat to drip down.
ひゅー。姉ちゃん、そろそろ爪を切った方がいいぜ。
ルシファーよ。それが誇り高き私の名。ベアトリーチェ様にお仕えする名誉ある家具、煉獄の七杭が長女。他の面汚しな愚昧どもとはわけが違うの。それに見合った敬意を示さないと後悔することになるわよ。
I think he has been through hell so many times already. At your hands, Lucifer.
どう後悔するんだか。俺には見当もつかねえぜ。
バカな子ね。そんなに遊んでほしいの？そんなに忘れられないの？私の悔いを思いっきり奥の奥までねじ込んでたっぷりえぐって楽しませてあげるわよ。
くそったれ。いつか押し倒して同じセリフを言ってやるぜ。
あらそう？楽しみにしてるわね。
What? What happened? What? We're not gonna see it? Rosa eventually regained her calm. The man wanted to hurry her into talking faster, but Heya intervened. If something like she had just mentioned really had happened, it was an abominable past that she wouldn't want to remember. After taking several deep breaths, with her hand over her chest, it seemed that she had more or less gathered the resolve to talk.
あれはいくつの時だったのかしら。多分中学生か。よく覚えてない。とにかくそのくらいの頃だったと思うわ。
ってことはだいたい20年くらい前ってとこか。
just nicely 20 years ago, when Beatrice was still human in Rokkenjima.
あの頃の私はあまり成績が良くなくて、私なりに努力していたつもりだったんだけど、お母様の期待には全然応えられなくて。
母上はローザにも随分厳しかったな。当時は同情していたよ。
陰口ばっかだったくせによく言うわね。
予算かエヴァ。それでローザさんはどこでベアトリーチェに会ったんや。
秀吉さん、今はせかしてはダメよ。いいのよ、ローザさん。楽に話して。
ありがとう。あれはお母様に特にひどく叱られた日よ。
Flashback? Even though my tutor had promised to keep it a secret, apparently they told Mother all about how I had complained. Mother scolded me horribly, saying that I was a disgrace to the Ushiromiya family. Of course, I was doing the best I could, but I had none of Kraus Nisan's dignity. I couldn't get excellent grades like Eva Ne-san, and I had no leadership like Rudolph Nisan. I never stood out, didn't particularly excel at anything, and I almost wanted to ask myself why I had even been born into the Ushiromiya family. I didn't know why I had been born. On that day, I had the experience of my mind going blank for the first time. For the first time since I was born, I realized that in addition to facing or surrendering to my problems, I had the third choice of running away. Even though I say run away, there was no way I could have left Rokkenjima and gone somewhere else. But anyway, I wanted to run away from the mansion and the way I was at the time. In a way, it was like running away from home or maybe a half-hearted suicide.
いなくなりたかったの。あるいは、いなくなることによって親を心配させたいという子供なりの反抗だったのかも。私は森の遥か奥に行けば後ろ宮の家から逃れられる。あるいは迷子になって心配させることで仕返しができると子供ながらに思ったの。
それで行ってはいけないと言われていた森に？
ええ、浜辺へ出てから海に沿うように。特に理由があったわけじゃないけれど、島をぐるりと回ればその反対側には誰も知らない場所があって、私だけの隠れ家になるような気がしたの。
浜辺からぐるっとってのは無理だね。途中で崖になっちまうだろう。あんなとこ通れるわけがねえぜ。
もちろんよ。だから通れる方へ通れる方へ、道なんかないひどい森だったけど、あの時の私にはそれが心地よかったの。それほどの険しい森を抜けたなら、その分後ろ宮家から逃れられるって、そんな気持ちだったの。
情けないわね。成績で叱られたならその分努力すればいいのに。
それを言ってはいかんね。その代わりローザにはデザイナーとしての才能があったじゃないか。
Literally, this could be taken as him hovering for Rosa. But everyone knew that Rosa's company was not making any profits.
よせよ。今は嫌味を言ってる場合じゃねえぜ。そして偶然たどり着いちまったんだな。ベアトリーチェの隠し屋敷に。
Rosa nodded weakly.
どのくらい歩いたんや。地図で場所が示せるんか。夏さん、この島の地図はあるかいな。
いえ、今ここにはありませんが。
無理よ。適当に歩いただけだもの。地図を見せられたってわからないわ。それにあれから20年も経ってる。多分森へ行っても二度とたどり着けないわ。
Several people let out dejected sighs. It was vividly clear that in their haste, they had thought that some hint related to the witch's epitaph, or maybe even the gold itself, might be resting there in that hidden mansion.
六軒島はこの屋敷の周りが整地されているだけに過ぎねえ。他は完全に未開で、前頭測量は相当の手間がかかるだろうな。
でも確かに存在すると分かっただけでも収穫よ。お金はかかるだろうけど、例えば航空写真の会社に調査を頼むとか、このお屋敷を建設した業者に当時のことを聞くとか、調べる方法はあるかもしれないわね。
そうね。あるかないかもわからないものを探すよりは、まだ方法があるはずよ。
早速調べる価値があるだろう。
その調査は兄弟合同でやるわよ。兄さん一人ではさせないわ。
It wasn't certain that the gold was hidden in that secret mansion, but it seemed that the fireworks between Kraus and Eva had already begun.
兄貴たち、今はよせよ。ローザ、続きを話してくれ。
This is new. Blindly, randomly, I kept running, on and on. Suddenly, it felt like I had come across something like an animal trail. I had no idea how far I'd walked, and I was very tired. So by then, I was just naturally taking the easiest path to walk on. Oh. As I did, suddenly, right before my eyes, a very, very tall fence appeared. It was a fence wonderfully adorned in a Gothic style. For an instant, I spun around, thinking that I might have returned to the original mansion. Of course, there were fences around the mansion to stop us from entering the forest. But this fence was decorated differently, and most of all, it was very tall. It probably reached a full 2 stories up. It was covered with ivy and created a mysterious, solemn atmosphere. At the time, I believed the legend of the witch of the forest, Beatrice. I had been told that she was frightening, but some of the servants told me that she would sometimes help you if you respected her. Since I had started to lose confidence in how my life was going, I believed that the only way I could be saved was by receiving her help. So that's what made me think. I believed that this was the fence of the mansion of Beatrice, the witch of the forest. I thought that if I could meet with Beatrice, she would definitely save me. So I thought I would try to go in. But that fence was very, very tall, and it didn't look like I could go over it. So I decided to walk around it. I thought that if I did, I would eventually reach the gate. But it wasn't that easy. The fence had a length to match its height, and no matter how far I went, I didn't reach a corner. It might have been enclosing a very massive area. Or maybe it just felt that way because my child's legs made it difficult to walk in the forest. Anyway, because I couldn't find a gate for a while, I started to feel sad, as though the witch had rejected me. As I did, I eventually came across a large tree whose twisted root had bent the fence. I might get my clothes dirty, but if I crawled, it looked like I would be able to sneak in.
そこが隠し屋敷だったの。
あれが私たちの言う隠し屋敷なのかはわからない。でも少なくとも私たちの知る場所ではなかったわ。
It wasn't as though I came out into a garden as soon as I passed the fence. I had to continue through a lot more uncultivated forest after that. And then, the forest suddenly opened up. And what appeared there was an unbelievably fantastical scene. To think that Rokkenjima, where I had believed no one other than us lived, had been hiding such a wonderful mansion. A beautiful flower garden spanned the front of the mansion. It was a flower garden of a completely different design from the rose garden we know so well, and was very lovely. Of course, the mansion was also wonderful. It was 1 or 2 sizes smaller than ours, but it was very elegant, and yet lovely mansion. Then, I saw her. I saw her sitting in a garden chair, positioned to give a view of the flowery garden, wearing an elegant dress. It was that black dress embroidered in gold that we would later know from that portrait. I hadn't seen an elegant dress like that except in fairy tales and on the stage of musicals. That a person would be wearing it as their normal clothes, that in itself seemed quite fantastical. That magical scene was enough to make me lose my sense of reality. If someone had told me then that it was a dream, I might have nodded obediently and waited to wake up in my bed. Since, in my shock, I had forgotten to hide myself, she eventually noticed me. At first, her expression was quite listless, but when she noticed me, eyes opened very wide. It was only natural. A guest that she didn't know had suddenly appeared. I automatically bowed my head, feeling that I should greet her and apologize for entering without permission. Those were the first words she said to me. That calmed me down a little bit, because I realized that she could be talked with. Because I hadn't been turned into a frog just by meeting her eyes, like a terrifying witch in that fairy tale.
ごめんなさい。勝手にお庭に立ち入って。すみません。
そなたは誰か名乗るがよい。
後宮ローザと言います。
後宮。ほう、金蔵の一族の人間なのか？
はい、金蔵の娘です。こんにちは。
I was just a little surprised. After all, father was a great man feared by everyone, and she had referred to him without using honorifics. So she quickly became frightening. After all, if she could refer to my fearsome father that way, she must be a witch with incredible power. After staring at me curiously, she beckoned me to come over to her. And I obeyed, although filled with belated trepidation. After all, I thought I really might be turned into a frog. And the closer and closer I got, the stronger that fear became. After all, I said it several times already, but that woman and her dress and a flower garden and a mansion, that entire harmony was so fantastical and beautiful that it seemed separate from reality. It surely wouldn't have surprised me even if she was actually a witch. And I was truly lucky. She didn't turn me into a frog. As I awkwardly stood there stock still, she motioned to an open chair and urged me to sit down.
座るがよい。
Oh my, such a pretty scene.
初めて訪れた者を庭へ招き、語らうのがわらわの唯一の楽しみよ。他に何の楽しみもないがな。
Oh my, she really is like a caged bird. As she said that, she showed an unhappy smile for just an instant. Because I was full of a strange mix of tension and excitement, I rudely asked her a question suddenly.
森の魔女ベアトリーチェですか？
いかにもわらわがベアトリーチェである。
やはりな、ベアトリーチェは実在したんだ。
その姿はまさに肖像画の。
ええ、まさにあの肖像画の通りよ。
お父さんの想像の中の魔女じゃなかったんやな。
それで、あなたは彼女と何を話したの？
彼女はお茶を入れながら私のことをいろいろと聞いたわ。まず森を抜けてやってきたことを驚かれた。彼女は柵の外には危険な狼がたくさんいると信じていたみたいだった。だから私が森を抜けてたどり着いたと言ったらとても驚いていたわ。どうやって狼から逃れたのか、ビスケットを渡して許してもらったのか。
That's so cute. Give them biscuits and let her go.
それとも魔法の街灯をかぶってなんて感じのことを言ってたっけ？
そりゃ確かに魔女っぽいわな。面白いお人や。
あなた黙って。ずいぶん昔だけど、お父様は森には狼が住んでいるから近寄ってはならないって私たちを脅さなかった？
ああ、そんなこともあったな。バカらしいね。日本の狼はとっくの昔に絶滅しているというのに、まさに子供騙しだな。
記憶にねえな、そんな話。親父に聞かされたっけ？森には魔女だろ？狼なんて話聞いたことないぜ。
あんたがまだ小学校だった頃よ。覚えてない？そしたらあんた、むしろ狼を撫でてみたいなんて言い出すもんだから。お父様はすぐに狼の話を引っ込めて、魔女の話に切り替えたのよ。
Oh, well, that's cute too. So in any case, Kinzo wants to keep them out of the forest.
もう、その嘘っぽいことと言ったら。
当時のルドルフには狼よりも魔女の話の方がてきめんだったね。よく覚えているよ。私の背中にしがみついた夜があったことを覚えているかね。
This is such a sibling bonding moment.
ルドルフさんにもそんな可愛らしい時代があったのね。
うるせえな。子供の頃の話だぜ。
まあ、とにかく、ベアトリーチェを閉じ込めていたのがお父さんなら、同じ狼の話をするのは道理ね。彼にとって六軒島の広大な森は、後ろ宮家と愛人の屋敷という、相入れない二つの異世界を分断する、越えてはならない壁だったのだから。
柵の高さを考えると、どうやら親父殿は、庭ごと丸々を座敷牢にしたようだな。さながら、二つの世界を分ける国境も同然だったのだろ
う。狼はともかく、野犬の類でもいたのではありませんか？そのための策だったかもしれません。
六軒島に狼も野犬もいないわ。その策は、兄さんやキリエさんの言うように、ベアトリーチェと私たちの間の国境だったんでしょうね。
しかし、狼の話を素直に信じるなんて、なんちゅうか、純朴やな。わしの想像していた魔女とは随分違う感じやで。
そうね。それは私も感じたわ。とても尊大で、確かに魔女のイメージ通りの人だったんだけど、どこか、とても子供っぽくて、なんていうのか、素直すぎるというか、世間知らずな印象を受けたわ。例えるなら、 本当におとぎの国の人みたいというか、本当に不思議な人だったわ。
Well, if Beatrice grew up in that small world and only knew of the small world and everything that Kinzo tells her, then it's no wonder that she seems like she doesn't know anything outside of that mansion.
それからどうしたんだ？親父の話とかは出たのか？
ええ。何日かに一度。約束されている日もあれば、突然の日もあったそうだけど、ふらりとお父様が訪れては、一緒にお茶を飲んだり、散歩したりしたんですって。私が訪れたその日は、たまたま彼女一人だったと言っていたわ。
なるほどな。まさに愛人といったところだ。やれやれ。いくつ年下か知らんが、親父殿もやるね。
いかがわしい意味での交流はなかったと。
バカね。男と女の仰せに色気がないはずないじゃない。それでどうしたの？それから何の話を？
私の自己紹介をしたので、逆に彼女のことを質問したわ。そうしたら、急に雰囲気が落ち込んでしまったの。なんていうのか、とても気だるそうな、寂しそうな。私が初めて彼女の顔を見た時に浮かべていたのと同じ。
まあ秘密の愛人だからな。好き勝手に歩かれてお袋に見つかっちまったらことだ。きっと軟禁に近い状態だったろう。
I think it was worse than house arrest. But what Rosa is saying does add up with what we saw in the memory, the past, with what Beatrice is saying as well.
綺麗なドレスに綺麗な屋敷や庭があってもさぞや窮屈な思いをしてたんだろうぜ。そりゃ苦労もあったろうさ。それで
彼女はきっと何か悩みがあった。それを私に話したところで何の解決にもならない。私もとても悲しかったのを覚えてる。私と一緒にいることさえ忘れてしまったかのようで、遠くをぼんやり見ながら、私はきっと失言してしまったに違いないと思ったんだけど、謝罪の言葉すらも口にしていいような雰囲気じゃなくて。だから私も彼女が私と一緒にいることを思い出してくれるまでずっと黙ってた。
When she did, she muttered unexpectedly.
柵の向こうには本当に狼などおらぬのか？え？はい。狼なんて動物園でも見たことないです。動物園とは何か？ああ、いろんな動物が飼われているところです。象とかキリンとかパンダとか珍しい動物がいっぱいいますよ。
Can I just say this? But this CG is probably the best one we've seen so far. And I don't know, it's just so calming to look at this, and I feel so sorry for Beatrice as well, being in her position.
動物園に狼はいないのか？なら怖くないかもしれんな。狼がいたとしても動物はみんな檻に入ってますから安全です。だから安心して見学できるんですよ。
The witch of the forest, of all people, was for some reason scared of and didn't like wolves. I remember it looked pretty comical.
それはわらわとどう違うのか。
I knew it would be brought up. She didn't even know about zoos. I explained how fun zoos could be, but it was very difficult to get a person like her who had never been to one to understand. Quite the opposite. As I explained it to her, her expression grew increasingly dismal. She couldn't see the difference. It seemed that, although this mansion surrounded by a high fence appeared at a glance to afford her a completely provided for life of comforts, she couldn't see how she was different from the animals shut up in cages.
わらわは何者なのか。皆はわらわのことをベアトリーチェと呼ぶ。それは確かに、そなたの言うように偉大な魔女の名前らしい。しかし、それはわらわではないのだ。わらわには魔法など何も使えぬ。わらわは、その魔女の魂を好みに封じられているだけなのだ。
There was definitely something mysterious about her. It wasn't just that she was somehow at odds with the world, but it seemed that she truly believed that a thing called magic actually exists. I think she talked about various weird things, but I don't remember the details. All I thought was, this might be a pitiful person. She was unable to leave this mansion of her own will, a prisoner without even realizing it. And she didn't know anything about the outside world, didn't even understand who she was. She probably vaguely understood herself that she was pitiful. But since she didn't know anything, it seemed that she couldn't realize that this was unhappiness. Ne-san, long ago when I told you that I felt sorry for a bird in a cage, I remember you said this to me. A bird that only knows the inside of a cage doesn't long for the outside. But she wasn't a bird. She was ultimately a human. Even if she had never been outside the cage, she understood that it wasn't the whole world. So, I invited her.
柵の外へ出てみますか。本当に狼はいないのか。いないですよ。絶対平気ですから。出たいぞ。だが、いつも門は閉まっている。私が入ってきたところがあります。くぐり抜けられる隙間があるんです。そこを抜ければ外の世界があるのか。はい。
It's kind of ironic though. Rosa says this, that there's a world outside. Yeah, there is a world outside. But in the end, Rokkenjima itself is also like this mansion. It traps you in.
狼は本当にいない？はい、いませんよ。
I had only planned to invite her for a short walk, but she kept looking over her shoulder at the mansion as though she was seriously deliberating over something. Then I learned what she was preparing herself for.
わらわはもうここは嫌だ。外へ出たい。そしてわらわが何者で、この世界はどうなっていて、わらわは何のために生まれてきたのかを。
I didn't know what her life had been like until then. It was probably something that she couldn't express easily. If it was harsh, she just had to say that she wanted to escape. If it was sweet, she just had to say that she would stay. But it's never that easy, isn't it? Your heart always wants something more. To liken it to something, perhaps it was similar to how a hot fireplace on a winter day makes the air get thicker and thicker, giving you a headache. Even though you know that you shouldn't keep things the way they are, you still need the courage to open the window and be tormented by the cold wind. She was starting to realize that she couldn't stay there forever. She was starting to realize that she had to go outside sometime. But since she didn't know about the outside world, to take that first step outside must have required an unimaginable amount of courage. And she had taken that into consideration and resolved herself. She had put that resolution to go outside into words for what was surely the first time in her entire life. I hesitated slightly. It had been decided that she would live here by father. It was as if she were father's beloved bird in a cage. If I just let her escape, wouldn't I be harshly scolded by father?
見たい。何を？動物園が見たいのだ。
Oh my goodness. I was just a little surprised when she finally showed me a very soft smile. Right. I can't do this anymore. That might have been an inner peace coming from her newfound readiness to venture out from her cage. A soft smile which I wouldn't have imagined could have come out of that dark face.
そなたと話すと知らないことばかり出てくる。わらわは学校なるものもわからぬし、動物園も知らぬ、映画館も知らぬ、遊園地も知らぬ。そしてそれを知りたいと心の底から思う。そなたはわらわをそこへ連れて行ってくれるのか？
Oh my god, I feel so sorry for her. I was nervous about how I would do it and keep it a secret from father. But her face looked so happy, so I went along with her and nodded. But it seemed that the meaning behind my vague expression was not communicated to her. It seemed that she believed that I would really take her to all of those places if we left. She was pure and genuine. She had probably never been tricked by anyone. No, maybe it should be said that she hadn't been taught how to doubt. Her face was somewhat radiant and yet pathetic. I wanted to somehow grant her modest wish.
わらわはもうベアトリーチェは嫌だ。わらわが何者なのか、ベアトリーチェではない新しい人間を始めたい。だからここから連れ出してほしい。もう紅茶もいらぬ、ドレスもいらぬ、金蔵とも二度と会わぬ。ここよりわらわを連れ出してくれ、ローザ。
However, that responsibility was one that a child such as me couldn't possibly bear fully. But her serious gaze and her brilliant smile, almost as though an evil spirit had lifted from her, made me feel a little courage start to rise up inside myself. This was definitely something that would get me into a lot of trouble. But it was definitely the right thing to do. Oh my goodness. I don't know how it will turn out, but I'll take her out. Of course, I won't be able to ask help from father and not mother either. Should I talk to Oni-sama or One-sama? No, what about that reliable Genji-san or... That's right, what about Kumasawa-san, to whom I can always talk when I'm in trouble? I'm sure they'll be able to do something. Anyway, for now, I'll take her out of here, because this is no longer a place where she wishes to be. And so, I took her to the crack in the fence and let her outside. She was all nervous, checking to make sure there were no wolves around. But after that fear disappeared, she seemed somehow to be having fun even just walking around this dense forest. Every time she found something, she would ask me about it. And they were all really minor things. What's that flower? What's that leaf? And that sound? And that smell? It was really like the inside of that fence had been her entire world. To her, who had stepped out of the world, this was, it's strange. In the beginning, when I first saw her, I thought that she was the absolute incarnation of a witch relaxing by a witch's mansion. But now it was different, or actually the complete opposite. She had gone out of a world she had believed to be finite, and was full of joy at realizing for the first time that the world was endless. So everything she saw was new. It was almost as though she was the one who had been thrown into a fairy tale. If she was Alice, then I felt almost like a rabbit holding a watch. To her, it was probably a really fun walk, filled to the brim with excitement. But as for me, the truth was, I was completely bewildered. After all, I had walked randomly to get there, so there was no way I could have known the way back to the mansion. There were no lights in the forest, and I hadn't brought a flashlight. I realized that it would be terrible if it got dark while we were still like this, and grew impatient. She was too innocent, and apparently she couldn't understand at all how frightening it would be to face the night inside the forest. But I was the one who had brought her outside. Somehow, I had to take responsibility and resolve the situation. So I thought that for now, we should just go out to the sea. If we then followed the coast around, eventually we should definitely be able to make it back to the mansion. However, that was much more of a problem than I had imagined. After all, I didn't have a map or a compass. There was no way I could walk in a straight line through an uncultivated forest, and I had immediately lost my sense of direction. I already had no clue which trail I had come by, and was completely lost. At this rate, night would definitely fall before I even knew where I was walking. But I didn't have the luxury to complain, because that woman following behind me was so innocent and having so much fun. Therefore, for the sake of her smile, if nothing else, I absolutely had to guide her out of this forest. Gritting my teeth so that I didn't show her a troubled face, I pushed my way onward through the pathless woods. And although we had various troubles, we were lucky enough to make it to the sea. At that time, I still didn't even have a clue where I was on the island. But for the time being, I was just a little reassured, realizing that if I just went around this way, I would surely be able to return to the mansion. Of course, although I said that we reached the sea, we were on top of a rocky cliff. The beach was far below us. I was tired from walking around the forest so long, so I thought that even though it was a rocky beach, an open area would probably be much easier to walk in. So I planned to somehow go down that rocky cliff. It did look pretty dangerous, and I wondered if there was some way around it. However, Beatrice agreed with my plan without any doubts. Even though she was probably older than me, she obeyed me truly obediently, almost as though she were some kind of chick who believed I was a mother bird. I searched to see if there wasn't some place where I could go down a cliff. Then I found a place where the cliff had crumbled into a slope. Oh no, this is dangerous. It looked a little dangerous, but if I went down on both hands and both legs, like I was crawling, I thought it would probably be okay.
ここを降りましょう。気をつけないと危ないけど、とにかく海岸に降りて、あとは沿って歩けば、もう迷わずに済むと思うの。
うん。ローザがそうするのならそうしようぞ。わらわは迷うとやらも楽しいぞ。とても愉快だ。
He really had no sense of danger. There was probably no mistake that she had lived a life without discomfort. Even though she knew it would get dark when night fell, she couldn't imagine how dangerous the inside of a forest could be without a light. Furthermore, it seemed that she couldn't grasp at all how dangerous it might be if she fell from the cliff. I warned her once more to be careful. I cautiously examined the place where we could go down. It looked pretty high up. I think it might have been about 10 meters down. If you looked at it from the bottom up, it would probably have looked shorter than the roof of the mansion. But looking from the top, it felt almost like staring down from the Tokyo Tower's observation room. But Beatrice still appeared to be completely without fear. It felt as though she had never even been taught that high places were dangerous. No, maybe she truly believed that she was a witch, and that she could fly, but there wasn't anything dangerous.
気をつけてくださいね。結構高いから。
気をつけるぞ。下へ降りたら海があるな。そこに水族館があるのか。
An aquarium?
いえ、この島には水族館はないですよ。でも海にはたくさんの魚がいると思います。
そうか。魚はいるのか。そなたが話してくれたクジラとかイルカとかペンギンとかはいるのか。
いえ、そういうのは水族館に行かないといないです。水族館は島を出ないとないですよ。
そうなのか。だが楽しみだ。クジラとはどんな魚なのか。
すっごく大きな魚で、あれ、哺乳類かな。それで潮を吹いたりします。
ほう。ならばイルカは？
頭のいい魚で、あれ、これも哺乳類だっけ？とても頭が良くて芸とかを覚えられるんですよ。
ほう。ならばペンギンはどうなのか。
あれ、これは鳥類だっけ？
Oh my goodness, this is kind of funny.
なんだ。水族館なのにさっきから魚が出てこんぞ。
まあその魚だけでなくいろいろな海の生き物がいっぱいいるんですよ。
ほほ。それはとても楽しみだ。
Oh no, oh no, oh no. Oh no. Some might have described it as a funny, rushed, and short voice. No, probably it was a scream, I think. She suddenly made a sound like that. Her body separated from the cliff and gently fell down. I immediately thought to say to her, "How many times did I warn you to be careful?" It was the thought of a child. It was how a child immediately gets mad when something happens, trying to show that they are not at fault. Of course, I said it too. Are you alright? How many times did I warn you? Oh no.
それで崖から落ちてどうなったんだ。
彼女はどうしたんだ、ローザ。
Rosa fell silent. Her gaze fell to her feet, as though she were seeing through the floor to some disgusting memory.
死んだのね。
Eva's brutal words were the ones that Rosa had most wanted to avoid. And when she was hit with them, she screamed in resignation.
死んだわ！岩浜だったもの。尖った危険な岩がたくさんむき出しになっていた。目を見開いたまますごい血が溢れ出して、たちまち真っ赤な絨毯を広げていった。
Oh my goodness.
声をかけたわ！揺さぶったわ！でも彼女は返事はおろか、瞬きすらも。私が悪いのよ。彼女はドレス姿だったのよ。あんな動きにくい格好なのを知っていたのに、私が歌舞伎を降りようなんて言ってしまったから。彼女は すごい素直だったから、私の言うことに何の疑いもせずに従って。
いつまで死んでいるつもりか。いい加減に目を覚ませ。まったく、わらわの預かり知れぬところで勝手に肉塊に姿を変えようって。
おめえのとこの太もも姉ちゃんとイチャついてただけだぜ。
Oh my, I thought she was talking to her dead body, but she was talking to Battler.
それより、これはどういうことだ？
見たままよ。わらわは足を踏み外して転落し、死んだ。
なんだと？19人目として登場しておきながら、死んだだと？ふざけるな！そんなわけはない！ローザおばさんは子供だったし、焦ってた。医者がいたわけでもない。多分、死んだと誤解しただけで、お前は多分、仮死状態か何かで生きていたんだ。そうだろ？
It can't be. She's obviously alive. Otherwise, she wouldn't be here in front of me, right? The kid-aged Auntie Rosa was shaking Beatrice's body, crying. I too stared into that face, but her eyes were still open, and it really was a corpse. I wanted to brush it off with something vague like a state of apparent death. But from any angle, there was nothing apparent about it. It really didn't look anything but dead. Beatrice had fallen upside down from a cliff of that height, and her head had smashed against the pointed tip of those sharp rocks. You would die, wouldn't you, from that height, on those rocks? But I can't accept that. No matter how dead she looks, she has to be alive. And she became this damn irritating witch. That way, all of the inconsistencies fit. She'd been confined by grandfather in a hidden mansion the whole time. And then to avenge herself, she planned out her revenge and would go on to commit a number of atrocious murders. Auntie Rosa probably just mistakenly thought that she was dead. But she was really alive, and as soon as Auntie Rosa left, she miraculously started breathing again. And then she somehow lived until today and would open the curtain on the scene of her revenge. Otherwise, the facts don't fit together.
そう簡単には騙されねえぞ。赤で復唱できるか？確かに死んだと。どうせ生きてるんだろ？見え見えだぜ。
それのどこが生きているように見えるというのか。間違いなく死んでいる。
Oh my goodness. My theory that the 19th person was grandfather's mistress, who was a human Beatrice, broke down. I thought I had managed to segue from a defensive position into a counterattack, but...
なら、お前は何者だってんだ？お前はたった今、死んだんだろうが。まさか魔法で蘇ったとか言い出すんじゃねえだろうな。
すでに説明したと思うがな。そこに倒れているわらわは確かに魂はわらわだが、その体はわらわをうつしおへつなぎ止めておく肉の檻に過ぎなかったと。そしてその肉の檻がこうして壊れた。それがどういうことかわかるか？
もうさっぱりだぜ。好きなだけ魔女っ子トークに興じろよ。チャカの代わりに聞いてやら。なんだ、空っぽか。おい、紅茶のおかわりを頼むぜ。
ロノウェ、客人が紅茶をお望みだ。
When Beato clapped her hands, Ronove appeared. Butlers sure are convenient.
おかわりですね。かしこまりました。どの程度お継ぎしましょうか。
どうせチャカがボリューム満点だろうからよ。半分でいいぜ。
それでもなみなみとお入れするのが英国式でございます。
Even though just enough to wet my throat would have been fine, He filled it to the top with tea. I turned my back to Beato, sipping it in silence.
ちょっと目を覚ましてよ。ベアトリーチェ
Rosa shook me. No, shook the corpse that had once been me. I watched over her from a short distance away. Oh? This is the second time we have seen ghosts. So I fell from there and died. I believed that was true for a while. After that, I saw Rosa spend a long time beside my corpse, then watched her as she ran away. Eventually, I realized that I was a different individual from that corpse. What? So, what does that mean?
そうか。わらわか。
Well, her voice is different here.
ようやく金蔵の戒めから逃れられたのか。
Eventually, I felt the memory returning. The fact that I was an endless witch who had lived for 1,000 years. And then I remembered that I had been summoned by Kinzo, and for a long time had been imprisoned by him. While I had been imprisoned in a cage of flesh, I had completely lost my memory as a witch. However, thanks to Rosa, if you could say that, thanks to my accidental but fortunate death, I had now finally brought myself together.
ローザ、そなたはわらわを死なせてしまったと後悔しているだろうが、わらわにとっては感謝したいくらいよ。
Rosa was already nowhere to be seen. Had she gone to call a doctor, or had she escaped from a scene which had become frightening? That no longer matters. That soulless shell is no longer worth anything. All that aside, how frail I am now. Even this glorious midday sun is agony to me now. I destroyed my human form. Then I changed it to several gold butterflies. Yes, with my magic power as frail as it is now, this form is easier. And to escape even a little from the light of the sun, I rode the wind and lightly passed over the cliff. It will probably be cooler in the forest. Anyway, I'll take some time to recuperate and regain my original power. As I think of how I will pay Kinzo back for all he has done. Dancing alone through the air, I looked down at the shore one more time. On the rocky shore lay the figure I had once possessed, and that I would eventually regain. To regain the form of that physical body I have thrown away, it will probably take more than 100, 200 days. It might require 1,000 days or maybe even more. However, I am the Endless Witch. A golden witch who has lived for 1,000 years. Waiting any countable number of days is no problem at all. Oh, Kinzo. You may regret that you are not here now. No longer will you be able to capture me. Cackle, cackle.
So then, お前は黄金の蝶に姿を変え、森の中に潜んで魔力が回復するのを待った。ってのか？
そういうことだ。そなたを嘲笑するためにこの姿を取るが、本来は蝶たちの姿でいた方が魔力的には楽なのだ。
無理しねえで楽な格好でいやがれよ。 ムカつく笑い声を聞かずに済むぜ。
蝶に姿を変え、森に紛れたわらわを探し出すことなど、もはや金蔵には不可能なこと。だが、金蔵も指を加えているわけではなかった。しかしわらわを捕らえる方法はすぐに用意はできぬ。そのため、まずはわらわをこの島から逃さぬ方法。そして、わらわが力を取り戻すことがないよう、即座に手を打ったのだ。
Maybe it's the mirror.
やれやれ。とにかく金蔵の執念深いことと言ったら、想像を絶する。あれに惚れられるのも、なかなかに辛いものだぞ。
蝶になったお前を逃がさない方法？なんだよ。森全体に蚊帳でも張ったってのか？
A bug net around the entire forest. That is insane.
それを魔法的に行ったのだ。そなたは知っておるか？船着き場の先の洋上に岩礁が浮かび、そこに小さな東洋魔術の祠があることを。
I knew it. It's the shrine. I was about to bring it up, but let's see what Beatrice wants to say.
ああ、あれか。今年はなくなってたけどな。
That's a problem, right? Because it's gone, that's why Beatrice can walk around freely now?
昔、修験者が作ってったとかいう祠なんだろ？
六軒島は元来、歪みのある島でございます。
Alright, I remember Kumasawa said something about the island having a very ominous name.
魔力的な存在や、それに類した存在を引きつけます。お嬢様も、そんなうちのお一人でございましょうね。紅茶のおかわりはいかがですか？
いただこうぞ。それらは人間たちに害をなし、おそらく数々の不気味なる伝承を残してきたであろう。それを聞きつけた東洋魔術師が古代に設けたのがあの祠なのだ。長い時間を経て、その力は失われておった。金蔵はそれを修復することで、島の結界を蘇らせ、
西洋魔女のお前に、東洋の魔法なんて通じるのかよ。
本来は相性が悪い。しかしわらわを封じたいという目的においては、ある意味都合が良かっただろうな。
So maybe this is what she means by the mirror being like the complete opposite to her powers, right?
わらわも西洋魔術であれば心得がある。どのような結界であっても何かの手が打てたであろう。しかし東洋魔術は専門外よ。わらわが飲まんとするスープに対しスプーンではなく箸を与えられたようなものだ。
東洋魔術が強く支配する空間では、西洋魔術はひどく力を失います。ただでさえ、千日はかけたであろう力を取り戻す時間を、さらに長くかけねばならなかったのです。
それで、約20年かけて魔力を取り戻し、今こうして蘇ったって言いたいのか？
辛く長い年月であった。わらわは黄金の蝶の姿のまま長く日々を送り、金蔵の屋敷を見つけ、奴の日常を見守った。どのように仕返しをしてやろうか。それを思案することだけを日々の楽しみに生きてきた。わらわにとって幸運だったのは、その間の20年間、金蔵はわらわを探し出し、捕らえるあらゆる秘術に、ことごとく失敗した点だったか。人間に起こせる奇跡の数など、たかが知れている。わらわをあれだけ長く捕らえていただけでも、十分に身に過ぎた奇跡だ。 そう何度も捕らえられてはたまらぬわ。
じいさまが前のゲームだかで言ってたな。魔法は確率的奇跡に宿る。みたいなことをよ。
うん。金蔵はわらわを再び捕らえる秘術を探るうちに、そこに行き着いたのだ。そして、13人の生贄を捧げることで、わらわを再び蘇らせる儀式を、ついに編み出したのだ。
And this is the epitaph. Okay. Beatrice's backstory is giving us something to work with for the epitaph.
13人の生贄。
Still, why 13?
それが魔女の碑文、生贄の歌でございます。第1の番に6人、第2の番に2人、そして第4の番から第8の番にかけて5人。合計13人の生贄を捧げる禁じられた儀式。その生贄はランダムに決められ、儀式を執り行う金蔵自身も例外にはなりません。
バカ野郎。この島で起こったあの凄惨な殺人が全部おかしな儀式だって言うのかよ。
I was vaguely thinking that this might be a possibility, but I can't just hear that this is the truth from a witch and a demon and say, "Oh really?" and accept it.
六軒島には18人いる。13人が生贄に捧げられ、5人だけが生き残る。そしてわらわは蘇る。つまり、金蔵がわらわに再び会える確率は、だいたい3分の1といったところか。その確率に自らの命を落とし、残りわずかな寿命の最後の一瞬に、わらわとの再会を望んだのだ。
そのふざけた儀式のために、俺たち親族が集められたってのかよ。ふざけやがって、いい加減なことを抜かすんじゃねえ。
I wouldn't put it past Kinzo. He has been shown to be a complete asshole ever since episode 1.
もとより契約の通りだ。金蔵の生を終えるとき、貸し与えた黄金と、そして金蔵が生み出した財産のすべてを、わらわがもらい受けることになっておる。金蔵には散々に英雄を飲まされたが、今となっては、この1000年でも稀な時間だった。何しろ、魔女の天敵は退屈よ。それから逃れることのできる数十年間を提供した金蔵には、なるほど、それも含めて借りがあるやもしれぬ。わらわは金蔵のゲームに乗ることにした。そしてまず、金蔵は、後ろ宮家当主の指輪をわらわに返却する。
And this starts the game?
わらわの黄金で復興させた家だからな。そして、13人の生贄を気まぐれに決めるのだ。そしてその過程で、お前たちが右往左往し、わらわに立ち向かおうと様々な人間模様を見せてくれることは、わらわにとって非常に愉快なことだ。わらわはこの金蔵のゲームを実に気に入っている。
ああ、そんな魔法話は絶対信じねえぞ。じゃあお前は誰なんだ。お前は崖から転落して死んだんだろうが、魂が抜け出して蝶になって森へ。そんなのあるわけねえだろうが。だがお前はここにいる。誰だってんだ。お前こそが19人目じゃねえのかよ。
そうであるな。わらわこそが19人目であろうな。だがダメだぜ。全然ダメだ。
He's using Battler's words against him.
この六軒島に19人以上の人間は存在しない。
Oh my goodness. this is what I was saying. There are no more than 18 humans on this Rokkenjima. This is what she needs to say to definitively put Battler at a disadvantage. He isn't... Oh my goodness. I was waiting for this, and I wasn't sure if she was gonna say it ever. But now, here she does. No more than 18 humans on this island, which means that if we are looking at human culprits, then it will have to be one of the 18. Still, it doesn't have to be a human or a witch culprit in the end, huh? Who knows?
なんだってってことは18人プラス X の X は存在しないってのかよ。俺が取ったコマ X は存在しないってのかよ。
But you know, her phrasing is also, well, it doesn't necessarily have to mean anything, but she says no more than 18 humans and not there are 18 humans. No more than 18, which suggests there could be less than 18 humans in the end.
そういうことになります。実にご愁傷様ですよ。しかしお嬢様も手がお早いですな。もう少し泳がせて最後にひっくり返すものとばかり思っておりました。さてバトラ様、紅茶のおかわりはもう結構ですか？
If I was in Battler's position, I would feel extreme hatred towards Ronove. He has such a sharp tongue. Ronove has a very irritating laugh now too.
いらねえよチキショウ。俺は信じないぞ。18人の中に犯人がいるわけねえ。じゃあお前は何なんだよ。どうしてここにいるんだよ。19人目が存在しないってんならお前は18人の誰かの変装だって言うのかよ。
そなたにとってしぶしぶとではあっても18人の誰かを疑うことが最後の逃げ道。しかしわらわはここからが難しいのだ。そなたはなりふりさえ捨てれば18人もの人間を自在に犯人に仕立て上げられる。その18人の駒をくぐり抜けわらわを認めさせチェックメイトに至るのは実に難しいことよ。
そんなことするもんか。18人の誰も疑わない。疑いたくない。またここに追い込まれちまったのか。チクショーチクショーチクショー。
三度に及んだそなたとのゲームもいよいよ終盤戦のようではないか。もう逃げ場はないぜ。お前の大好きな18人を疑いたくないだろう。わらわがそれをかぶってやるぞ。なのになぜわらわを拒むのか。序盤は本のように、中盤は魔術師のように、そして終盤は機械のようにさせとな。これより詰めるぞ。ゆっくりじっくり。いや、それともそなたにふさわしく一気に畳みかけるのが良いのか。そなたにはそれが似合うだろう。すでにそなたの苦手とする攻め方も知り抜いておるわ。
Oh, it's always this. That moment of everyone just being shown where they are right before the killings start. Well, we have this. And the adult siblings. And that's a clock. Is it not? Oh. Are we not gonna get the siblings and Kinzo? Oh, I'm getting bad feeling. We're gonna get started with the murders very, very soon. I'm gonna throw out the possibility that the murder will start with the people in the dining room. But we will see next time whether that will be right or not. Oh, she appears. And it ends, and it ends. Oh, that is huge. Has it ever started out this big? No, right? The clock's gonna strike 12 times. The beginning of the ritual at exactly 12 o'clock. Alright, I'm gonna end here. So, this episode was exhilarating. We went through 2 pretty long episodes. I'm not sure how this video is gonna turn out. It might be over 3 hours. I have no idea, but it feels like it was over 3 hours. But in any case, it was an exhilarating match today. And Battler is finally using his brain to figure out how to use a devil's proof to his advantage. And unfortunately for Battler, at the very, very last moment, Beatrice comes in with a hard counter. She isn't using Hempel's Raven to counter him anymore. And I want to say that if she did use Hempel's Raven, I was still gonna fight back and overcome it with determination and twisted logic and every other underhanded trick in the book to counter her. But by stating definitively in red that there are no more than 18 humans on the island, that becomes extremely difficult to counter. In fact, I would say there's no way to counter it unless you bring in something other than a human, at least on the island. Also, she did word it rather interestingly. She said no more than 18. Of course, it could be a way to just mess with our brains and make us think of silly little things. But in the end, it still does remove the 18 plus X theory that Battler proposed. And now he can't really use the devil's proof, not in that way anyway. So that was difficult for Battler and for me. It's gonna be extremely hard for me if I want to escape from doubting the 18. But I'm not as kind as Battler, so I probably will still choose someone of the 18 to pin as a culprit. But we will have to see how this coming episode will unfold, and then we will decide who could be the culprit. I'm still not entirely sure if the culprit is always the same in through the different matches. If it is, that makes my life a lot easier. But if it's not, then it also becomes kind of confusing. But today was good.
We saw a lot of things, and I think most shockingly, we saw Beatrice's backstory, and a lot of it. I mean, the whole thing was almost Beatrice's backstory, and she, well, I can't tell if the beginning of episode 3 was her actual, like, first childhood, or was it one of her childhoods after being forced into, like, a body by Kinzo. I mean, we did see Beatrice's master, another Beatrice, and I don't know who that person is, what they're doing there, but they do have a different insignia, so not the one-winged eagle that belongs to Kinzo and Beatrice, but another kind of symbol. So I can't really tell whether it's her first childhood or if it's like someone Kinzo hired to teach Beatrice. I have no idea. That'll be kind of funny though. The whole backstory of Beatrice was really sad to witness. I think what made me feel the most is seeing that Beatrice is so innocent and naive, and she desperately just wants to leave the mansion. She has this innocent, pure desire to explore the world and know something outside of what little she's been exposed to. And I thought that was really... It was just kind of sad to see that Kinzo would trap the person that he loves in such a mansion. But I think I'm also gonna say this. And Kinzo is not only an asshole, which we already established 2 episodes ago. Kinzo is also a creep. Why is he... After being told no like countless times by Beatrice, but Kinzo is awfully persistent. He just can't take no as an answer. He can't take any hints. Kinzo, please walk away. Walk towards the sea and don't climb back up. Oh, that's kind of mean of me. Okay, but Kinzo's pretty bad. In any case, Kinzo is an asshole, but we will see whether he has any actual redeemable qualities about him, because I think Beatrice is... She is an asshole. She is an asshole. She plays all these games with Battler, but the person that she wants to attack the most is Kinzo. Is it not? But in any case, I can at least kind of understand where Beatrice is coming from. Kinzo is just kind of an asshole. He is an asshole. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye! I forgot to open the characters menu to look at Ronove, but here he is. I'll go over it. One of the 72 great demons serves a master in exchange for various forms of compensation. Presently has a contract with Beatrice as her butler, the head furniture. Has multiple underlings trained in housekeeping, and he himself is extremely capable as a butler. Employing him has become a kind of status in high society of witches. Furthermore, the cookies he bakes are superb, and witches will often line up to demand them. Now that's kind of funny. He kept demanding Battler, well, kind of pushing Battler to eat his cookies. Should possess enormous magical power, but as always, he shows deference to his master, and his power level is an unknown quantity. Who knows? He might... Well, I don't think he will surpass Beatrice in power, but he is powerful. I just think it's hilarious that one of the 72 great demons, and he himself is quite powerful, right? One of the 72 great demons serve another master. I don't know why. It's funny. He might be bored too. Maybe he does this to escape boredom. But imagine employing Beatrice to serve you. Wait, that's exactly what happened. Oh my goodness. So, Ronove, a great demon, is under the contract of Beatrice, a witch. And a witch, Beatrice, is under the contract of a human, Kinzo. Does that mean that Kinzo is more powerful than Beatrice? Probably not. But, it's so strange, the whole contract thing. I wonder what Kinzo had to give up to get into a contract with Beatrice, and I wonder what Beatrice had to offer for Ronove to enter a contract with her. And yes, that's it.